Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday show. I'm Ultra David.
I'm JeSU. Let me make sure I have everything paused and we're at least muted. Okay, good, we're good.
Excellent.
We're good.
Fantastic.
Alright.
Here's what we're talking about today. It's these various topics. We're going to be starting off with the Asia premiere.
Oh, hang on a second. This microphone should not be on. There you go. Alright, we're good now.
We're going to be talking about the Asia premiere and the Momochi news that is associated with it. We're going to be talking about a bunch of other tournament results. Some cool stuff happened. We're going to be talking about Shizumaru. There's new tech in MK11 I wanted to address. We got some cool 5-5 matchup topics.
Yeah. In fact, we have so many that I'm sad we're only going to get to like one or two of them.
There actually is some cool stuff. Yeah.
We could just go through a bunch of them. Just yeah, that kind of defeats the point of the poll.
That's breaking the rules.
Yeah, it's true.
And then there's other news as well. Gear, Granblue, a bunch of stuff to talk about, to be honest.
Granblue? I didn't even know about the Granblue stuff.
Really? You didn't watch TGS and the news and whatnot?
I saw a bunch of stuff. I didn't see any Granblue stuff.
Is.
So, okay. All right.
So, let's begin by talking about the CPT Asia premiere. This is one of 3 super premieres during the year for Street Fighter V.
Yes.
It has previously been that only EVO held that position of like the maximum points, but now it's including this one as well, and so it was mega stacked. There were 1 billion people in it, over 1,000 players, and players from, of course, Japan, which is where it took place, but you know, across East Asia and North America were there, and Latin America and Europe, and basically everywhere.
Right. Yeah. And what you already mentioned that there's like over 1,000 entrants over there. Of course, a lot of them. I mean, it was a weird format. They had 128 pools, and so most pools had 8 players in there. This is a very odd thing, and in fact, to the point where Anti,
I do know Anti.
Qualified out of winner's bracket from his pool.
Nice work. That must have taken a lot of effort. I'm sure he's very proud of himself.
He wasn't there.
I see. I heard about that, yeah.
He wasn't there.
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows how many of the 1,000 plus who entered actually were there?
Right, exactly.
But that's how tournaments go.
Especially if it's a free to enter kind of thing, and it's at a convention, so like largely.
It was at Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, right? So a lot of people were probably like, "Oh, this is cool, but I'm gonna go and check this out." And oops, oh well, whatever, right. Kind of thing like that. So
totally.
Yep.
But still, regardless, very well attended, extremely strong talent pool, right? I mean, a very good tournament. I watched part of it live, and I watched a substantial amount the next day.
Yeah, because we were going on super late.
You guys did a Pacific time zone restream. I get
Look,
it, okay? That's prime your time.
I was molded for this task here.
It's prime James Chen's
Which is why I always do those overnight restreams, you know? Because it's like, whatever, I'm up.
I just don't know how Jeremy and Steven stayed alive.
I'll tell you this right now, and this is no knock against either of them or whatever, but on Sunday, I could tell Jeremy was really tired.
Dude, here's a funny tale. I was watching the archives the next day, and my wife comes in, and she's like, "Those guys are like asleep. You need to get better commentators." And I was like, "These guys are great. These guys are great." But it was like 3 a.m, right?
Yeah.
So, and she was like, "Oh, okay, all right, yeah." I was like, "That's hilarious."
Yeah, they were definitely both very tired. You could tell, and I was like, "Man, I felt bad for these guys." I was like, "You should have just, hit me up. I would have been there and been like, yo,
I know,
3 a.m. Aren't you guys awake? Come on."
I know, yeah. Oh. Wow.
Oh, man. It's funny.
Anyway, it was fun to watch. A lot of good matches, for sure.
It was fun to commentate, too, as well. So, although I will say, just to kind of address something that Giuna and Majin Obama were talking about and stuff, a lot of them seemed kind of upset that there was no on-site commentary.
For sure.
That we were doing the restream here in the U.S. Look, Sejam messaged me and was like, "Hey, are you free this Saturday? We need a commentary." And I was like, "I'm totally down. I'm going to do it. But I would prefer it to be on site.
For sure.
I would not want it to. I don't want this to be a norm.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination, because when we're not there, we lose a lot of information.
Yeah.
1, we don't get the ambiance.
Yeah.
And 3, I just think that you're kind of taking away opportunities, and I guess this will kind of go into some of the topics we'll get into later. But like, you know, just having the production staff there, and then having the, you know, other commentators get to do these kind of things. I just feel like it's taking away opportunities that, you know, for teams to do cool things. That's all. So. Well,
yeah, I think it's disappointing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you get a reason why? Is there like a...
Oh, no. I was just called to ask to do it, and I was like, all right, I'll do it.
Enough.
And, you know, it was as official as possible. It wasn't just a standard restream. We even got a big Capcom backdrop that we had to put up in Sejam's home and almost died, basically, trying to put that thing. Because the room was small.
Oh,
and
I see.
that thing is gigantic, and
Okay.
we're, like, standing on chairs and trying to, like, Velcro things and everything. And, like,
that's great.
it was a fun kind of a little exercise. But, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, it was a lot of fun to watch. Like I said, I mean, the talent pool was just incredible. So, you know, you even go down to, I'm looking at like 33rd, right? 49th, Cien, Problem X, players like that, right?
What? I didn't even know Problem X was there because I don't even think I commentated any of his matches.
49th. 65th had players like Kichipamu, who just got second place at another one. Like, Bonchan ended up, I think, even further down than that. I'm looking for him right now.
Oh, Bonchan went 2-2.
Yeah,
he lost
I
to
think
a
it was like
although
100
I
something.
did see that there was a video of him playing against the Fang, and he might have been using Nash or something like that. So I'm not sure if Bonchan was just like, I'm tired, like I don't want to like go all in on this, or maybe he was like, look, let somebody else get some points or something. But
there's money on the line too.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if that's. And then 97th were like Hot Dog 29, who just won a premiere.
Yep.
You know, Verloren Kaba's up there. YHC Mochi, Alex Myers. The point is,
Nash is good against Fang, some people are saying in the chat. Do you feel like that's the case?
I wouldn't know, really, to be honest. I haven't been playing Fang lately.
Okay.
Trash Box is up there, right? I mean, just the point is, Men RD. Point is, mega stacked. So you go down to, like, the 9th places, and that's where Fujimura, Takeuchi, Punk, and Itazan ended up. Mm-hmm. And then 7th places were Tokido and Phenom. 5th were Shuto and Big Bird. 4th, Gachikun. 3rd, Angry Bird. 2nd, Mago. And winner was Victrix Momochi.
Right, so it's all about September Mago.
For sure.
Still doing his thing right there. But then, shout out to the Birds.
The Birds.
Big Bird
the Birds.
and Angry Bird.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
These guys, I mean, Big Bird is fresh off of a Super Premier 2nd place finish.
Right.
And here he is, what, 3rd place? Oh, I'm sorry, that was Angry Bird. 5th place. But then there's Momochi, right? Yeah. Who is clearly if the tournament is big and it's in Japan, I win.
Basically right. Yep, Evo Japan winner, of course.
Yep.
It wasn't on the CPT, so he didn't get points for that, but he got a buttload of points for this one.
Yeah, and he got a lot of points for this one.
He got a lot of points for this one. Congratulations to him on those points. We'll talk about that just a little bit. But yeah, Mago doing great again, like you mentioned. That's really cool that it seems like in the month of September and later, he just really turns it on. The Birds are, look, I mean, I was talking about this on Twitter. They are so good. Their scene is strong. It's not just these two people. Okay, the scene in the sort of Gulf region there in the Middle East is legit. And while I understand that there are reasons, including sort of fear of safety of people, not for violence necessarily, but you know, could you ask somebody who's LGBT to come over? It's like I don't know. I get it. I at least there needs to be an online Middle East regional. At least, right. For sure. There's just too much talent there.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because I had talked about this, too, during the stream, actually. One of the things that I commented was, like, you know, with the recent success of Arslan Ash and, you know, coming out of Pakistan, and all of us are like, whoa, look at these guys in Pakistan. This is amazing. Shout-outs to Nasser. Because we're not even at a point right now where we're like, whoa, look at these guys from UAE. It's just like, yeah, it's the UAE guys. They're super good. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
We actually know they're super good because they've been being flown out for so long.
That's true.
I don't think they count as Europe, but, you know, I know Europe is going to keep claiming them.
Yeah, I don't know how serious that is. I hope it's not serious, right? I mean, I hope it's just tongue-in-cheek. It's just because they're in the EU region. They come to EU
CPT.
tournaments a lot.
Yeah, exactly,
right.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, it sucks that they don't have their own, but whatever. super cool for Shuto to get up there, by the way.
Yeah.
He's a player who's been good for a while, but I feel like, I'm sure this is his best placing. So
yeah, and it's always that situation, too. Obviously, he's very good. But we're going to talk about him like, oh, you know, newcomer of the year, or was it Rising Star?
Rising Star, yeah.
Rising Star. But, you know, it's just that, you know, for me, we got to talk about the players like that when they don't get to travel, right? Even, like, we have to be good about saying, yes, they're good, but, hey, look how cool this is, you know. We still have to be excited about it. And
yeah,
I'm super excited for Shuto placing well.
And then you had Tokido, who again gets top 8, and Phenom up there, too. Karen did pretty well.
Not
the winner, but
it is
second
second
place
still
and seventh place. And you had 2 Rashids there. So you had 2 Rashids and 2 Karens. I don't know if that's a big surprise, but look, Colleen, Zeku, Urian's up there, Birdie, Nikali. It's still, I thought it was still really fun to watch.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was really cool. And shout outs to Momochi. I mean, it's funny because, you know, Hi-Fi tweeted out something that, you know, that Momochi, what has he been doing? He's just been playing a bunch of Smash Brothers on stream.
Right.
He's just been playing Smash Brothers, and he's like, I guess I'll go to the Super Premiere, and then like, and he wins, and but the thing about it is, I don't think that's weird at all. Like, I still tell the story all the time of the, like, Wednesday Night Fights used to have those monthly rankings that you would get certificates for being in the top 8, and I got into the top 8 the month that MVC3 Vanilla came out, and I didn't play any Street Fighter 4.
Totally, man. I feel
it just
like
works that, yeah.
Sometimes you take a little bit of time off and you come back with a fresher perspective.
Different skills. You learn different skills by accident and stuff like that, and it really just makes you a better player throughout everything. So.
Not even just fighting games. If you're struggling with something else, a common bit of wisdom is to take a little bit of time. If you're struggling writing a paper, take a little bit of time and just go do something else, and you come back.
Dude, like that's something like
classic wisdom.
I know you've probably never experienced this because of your stance on rhythm games, but
okay.
You know? No, but a lot of times, like, I'll be playing Beat Mania, and like there's a section I cannot do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't do this. You go to sleep, the next day you come back and you're like, da 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 da. What the hell just happened? You know, it's weird. It's like you gotta let things sink into the brain. You know, it's really crazy.
I know what you mean. And his Colleen is super cool. The first time I saw him play Colleen, he's been playing it for a couple of years, right? But the first time I saw her, I was like, that's a weird choice. She's not really the character she's not as Footsies a character as I expect out of him.
Yeah. And then we found out about Standing Fierce.
Yeah, he definitely has excellent whiff punishes with that character. He plays her so slowly. You see other people play her and they're like rushing in. Right? They want to get in, get that stuff going. And he's just like walking around. He won't press a button for like 20 seconds. And then bam, the Fierce is exactly right.
Yeah, I know. Or that dashing, crouching light kick that led to like 60% damage or whatever that was. It was like 40% damage, I'm exact. But still, it was a lot. So.
Very cool. Very cool. He's super good. And not very well paid.
No. I mean, at least he got paid from Evo, Japan. He got the full money from there, I'd heard, because that was not part of the Japanese esports union thing. So that's what I heard.
I heard he got paid from that.
Yeah. But this one, because he does not have the JeSU license, then he is limited to 100,000 yen.
Correct.
And the prize was what, like
50 million yen.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 50 million. Was it supposed to be 50 million yen?
Yeah. Well, it's just a little bit less than $50,000.
Right. Yeah. But 50 million to 100,000 is.
Yeah, so he ended up getting about $600 plus a monitor. USD, right? Instead of getting almost 50,000 USD.
So people are saying 5 million yen. 5 million yen, not 50 million yen.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
5 million.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
Yeah, okay. But he got a monitor.
50 million.
But he got a monitor. He got a monitor.
Yeah, he did.
Gaming monitor for his Smash Brothers.
Wow, now he has a gaming monitor.
I know, right? Can you imagine?
I'm sure he didn't have one before.
The monitor was like 300 yen, or it was 300
bucks,
300
or
US.
whatever,
Yeah.
What?
Look,
so low.
Look. I'm just gonna say this. Shout outs to Momochi for maintaining this hard stance and being so and just, you know, being like, this is not good. I'm going to live by my belief. Because he's right. I think he's right. I don't like the JeSU license thing. I think that thing is all ridiculous and stuff. But God, it's a lot of money to sacrifice, dude.
Oh, it's just an incredible amount of money to sacrifice. Yeah, no doubt. It's very difficult to do that kind of thing. I have not often been in a situation where I need to like stand by my principles in a way that really costs me. Only a couple times, and it hasn't been to the tune of like $50,000. That's never come up. You know what I mean? So I'd like to think that I would do the same thing, but who really knows? Who really knows?
Yeah, man, and you know, I feel like if you're the guys putting on that event, like, you gotta find some, like, goofy way to, like, circumvent this or somehow, but there's probably no way to do that, right?
Just briefly talk about the law in this.
Yeah,
right? So,
please.
why is it that he can't get the full payment? Okay, so I posted a very good article by a Japanese attorney who I met in SoCal. He was living in SoCal for a while.
Oh, cool.
And practicing law here and studying and stuff. And he went to UCLA Law LLM just like I did. Woo! He then moved back to Japan not too long ago, and
so cool. You've been maintaining contact with him and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I figured he was like an important contact.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
So
good stuff.
He wrote this article in June, and it's basically just an overview of the law in Japan with respect to esports. Mm-hmm. And so there is the anti-gambling law is something that we always knew about in the U.S. I don't think I knew about the rest until more recently than that. Until more recently. Mm-hmm. Anti-gambling is basically like they don't allow you to gamble on stuff which they interpret as including competitions. Mm-hmm. So my understanding is that it's not just esports that falls under that law. It's like a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sure mahjong, everything. Everything falls under that. Yeah.
So because of that, you cannot give entry fees in a way that you also take out of the prize pool. Right. So you can't. So you don't put in money and then take it out. If you're going to get paid a prize, your entry fee cannot be part of that, right? It has to be related.
It has to be a sponsor or somebody going, here, we're donating this prize money, but they can't do like blah % of the pot. You know, cannot be done.
It cannot be like that.
Yeah.
So we knew about that. The other thing that I didn't know until more recently was the law about premiums, which is basically a consumer protection plan that they have, which says that if you are in order to protect consumers, you can't pay somebody too much money in order to hawk a product or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So the limitation on that is 100,000 yen or whatever the other one was, some percentage or something. Whatever. You can't get paid much. And it may be that esports competitions fall under that law. That's not super for sure, but like that's a reasonable interpretation is that they would fall into that. However, there is an exception, and this exception is that you are doing the work. It's compensation for work, I think is the phrasing, right? So compensation for work. So if it's just your job to do a thing, then you should be able to get paid, right? Rather than like them sort of bribing some unrelated person, which is what the concern is, I think. If it's just your job to do it, then so you should be able to earn more money.
That's probably covers, for example, like professional tennis players or professional athletes.
I think they need a licensing scheme too, to be honest.
Do they really? Oh, Jesus, okay.
I'm not, that's my understanding, but I'm not as certain about that as the rest of us. So, JeSU, the Japanese Esports Association Union, which they very annoyingly use the lowercase e for.
Esports,
You know, it should just be JEU, but whatever. JeSU.
Wasn't there a Korean one? Isn't there like Kesba. A Kesba? That's right. So,
and there was JESPA as well.
Yeah,
but I think it's been folded in or something.
Okay.
So the JeSU ostensibly started because they needed a way to make it so that players could clearly be getting compensation for work. And one way to make that clear is if you explicitly license them as being, here's the set of professionals, these are the people who get paid because it's their job. And this is a way to just make it clear to the government, like, we're not breaking any laws, these definitely are people who are working, right? This is their job. What I found very interesting about the article that this Japanese attorney posted, Masa is his name, he said that there is an additional potential loophole here, and it's basically that the head of the agency tasked with prosecuting these laws in the government said in an interview, not officially, that it doesn't matter whether an esports player is a professional or not. So if you're just an esports player, you can just earn the money, even if you're not a professional licensed. So again, that's not an official statement. That was him. He was giving an interview to a magazine. My understanding is that since then, this has been more codified, and it's a little bit more for sure, but still not like an explicit part of the law, so that they're, even if somebody in government says that they think that it would be interpreted in one way, if you're like a scared businessman, you may not want to risk that still, but that may be what if there's ever went to court or whatever, that may be what would be found out as being. So for sure, the JeSU license exists so that you don't have to deal with this premiums law, so you can get around that. But there may be an additional way to get around it. And Momochi doesn't have a license. Right.
So and keep in mind too, I just want to reiterate to people here, getting a license, there's no like formal process to it. Yeah. Like literally, Capcom had a tournament that when you won, your reward was a license. Capcom just gets to pick the people who have
and for any reason. It's not just if you win a tournament. They just gave it to a bunch of people at the start.
Right. Like here's the top people here. So it's like completely just like whatever. It's like the most.
Yeah, it's mega whatever.
Yeah,
like it's officially legally mega whatever.
Right, and the only reason why Momochi doesn't have one is not because Capcom didn't give it to him, because they tried to give it to him. Momochi was like, I think this is stupid, so I'm going to not get one because I think this is stupid and I'm not going to be a part of this whole thing. So
yeah, totally. And he had a good article that Juna translated a year or two back that was, showing his reasons for that. He didn't like the fact that this was going to be more exclusive. He didn't like the fact that it was just some arbitrary outside group rather than like the FGC. He thought it was bad for long-term stuff. He didn't like that it wasn't grassroots. Like, there's all these reasons that he didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, literally, he's training all these kids to become expert esports players. And if they go to a tournament like Johnny does, right, and get second place, like he did at final round, like what if he did that in Japan? He wouldn't have been able to collect any of the prize money. Yeah. Right? And so, of course, Momochi is like, this is stupid. Like, the whole point of me trying to raise these people is because this should be a potential career for these talented players. And so, like I said, I'm super, man, more power to Momochi
It's very, very impressive to hold a stance like that. So Capcom Cup isn't held in Japan. However, there's a rule specifically in the Capcom Cup rule set that says that if you are from Japan, in order to get the full payment, you need to have a JeSU license. You have to be licensed.
So literally, if Momochi won Capcom Cup, he can't get that money.
He wouldn't. He would
can't
not
get that money.
He would not. Yeah. So it's a scam for sure, right?
Because TWT is doing the same thing, right? There's licenses for.
It's Tekken, Street Fighter,
Dragon Ball, right?
Maybe that sounds right.
Because otherwise, Goichi wouldn't be winning anything, right? So,
in Japan, is he winning anything?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Okay.
I don't know if it's Dragon Ball. Maybe. I think there's like League of Legends. There's like just a few. It's not that many. So, it's super arbitrary because it is a set of publishers who have agreed that they're going to be the ones who give out the license. They're the ones who support JeSU. So there's like Capcom and Bandai and a couple of others. It's just, that's a very protectionist racket. So now if you want to start a new fighting game in Japan and the players are like, this is the best fighting game we've ever played, we're all going to play it competitively. Screw Street Fighter, Tekken, whatever. Just for the sake of example. They could not be professionals because Capcom and Bandai and whoever else is in that cabal would not grant that. Why would they, right? Like, would they grant a license to somebody who is playing in a competitor's game? Why would they do that?
So they couldn't play Street Fighter or Tekken as a side thing, right?
No, they couldn't play professionally at all because JeSU wouldn't give them a license to compete in that game. They wouldn't license that game. You understand? JeSU gets to decide which games can be played professionally.
And Capcom and Bandai or whoever else are in JeSU's ear and saying no.
They are the funders of it. They're not in the ear.
Oh, really?
They did it.
Oh, I didn't know that they built that.
Yeah.
Oh. Shoot, I actually had no idea.
It's super shady. So that's...
Ooh, okay.
Right?
Wow.
It's super shady. So there's this obvious conflict of interest. It's obviously a protection idea, and
Sega CEO is the CEO of JeSU, according to Hanzo in the chat.
Sega CEO, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what a butthole.
Well, Virtual Fighter is going to be able to...
So what seals this in my mind is the fact that you can't even travel abroad to Capcom Cup and earn money, right? It's such a protectionist thing that they don't want you to be able to travel abroad and get paid. If you don't have the license, screw you, right?
So the money that was supposed to go to Momochi,
yeah,
that's Capcom's money, right?
well, what I assume is that it's the sponsors' money.
Right.
So my guess is that the sponsors just don't have to pay it out. But I don't know. I don't know if any of us knows that publicly.
Yeah.
More
power to Momochi.
It really
dude.
sucks. Yeah.
But but the thing about it is, look, here's the important thing. This is why more power to Momochi. Why it's so important. If Momochi had a license right now, would we be even talking about this and letting people know in the stream how shitty this is, right? We probably
maybe not.
Yeah, we might have just glossed over it because everything is just moving on.
We did mention it when the licenses were first coming out.
Right.
We certainly talked about it,
We
but
talked
that was a
about
couple
it
years
at
ago now.
Evo Japan because we weren't sure if he was getting paid.
Yeah.
I remember at that point in time. But this one here, without this, we don't get to see the absurdity of it. We don't really get to talk about the absurdity of it. We wouldn't have brought it up as often. So again, this is the power that Momochi is trying to wield right now. And like I said, sacrificing $50,000 to wield this power is a lot. But I mean, oh jeez,
it's a lot. Yeah, it is bad news. It's bad news.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder, would people like Aru or Hamako get in trouble if they just brought it up on stream? If Momochi wins, he can't get any of the money. Then would be you guys can't,
I mean, if you speak Japanese, let me know if they said that. I'd be fascinated, but
I know.
I can't imagine that they would. You know what I mean? I just can't imagine that they would.
Yeah. You know what they should do? This is for Capcom Cup. They should say if someone who's from Japan wins the first place prize, right? And they can't collect the money because they don't have a license, then that money will just go to second place, right? They should just do that. And then there should just be an inside rule that the second place guy would be like...
I mean, of course. That is a great idea if the goal of the licensing system is to help the players get paid by being professional. But if the goal of the licensing system is to act as a protection racket for the companies involved, then screw Momochi.
Yeah. Because the worst part about it is I don't even know how much of this, this is all conjecture. I need to get my stupid, hat out here, the conspiracy theory hat and stuff like that. But obviously with the whole pachinko culture, the mahjong culture and everything like that, a lot of it is influenced by gangs, yakuza, that kind of stuff, right? So I wonder how much a lot of this is kind of influenced by that as well.
I really wonder that too.
I wonder if there's any someone in the background just being
I really wonder that too, man.
I have no idea. You know what I mean?
I have no idea.
Because literally in Daigo's book, he says when he quit Street Fighter, he started playing mahjong, and he was like, "I'm becoming one of the best mahjong players. I could win national mahjong tournaments." And he was like, "But I don't want to do this because of its ties with the Yakuza, and there's so much of that in there." And he's like, "I don't know if this is something that I'd want to do, is to have people look up to me for being a part of this big old, kind of gang kind of thing, Yakuza thing." And so that's why he didn't want to get into it. You know what I mean? So even Daigo himself was just saying, look, this is straight up run by the Yakuza kind of thing. So, yeah. Mahjong is a Asian tile gambling kind of game, basically. So super fun, by the way.
I've played it. I don't remember the rules now, but I remember enjoying it.
I have the sets here. Dude.
Oh, dude, I'm down to play sometime.
Dude, I should do mahjong streams.
Let's play it in stream sometime.
You know how crazy that? Well, we need 4 people, so we need 2 more people. But
we could definitely do that.
I'll teach you the Taiwan rules and stuff.
I'm in. Yeah. Yes, Daigo, Tokido, etc. do have this license. Yes, they do. The only notable player among the people who've been extended the opportunity to get the license, who doesn't have it is Momochi.
Yeah.
Is Momochi. So, I mean, I was thinking about this. The laws have been very, very weird to the Japanese scene. Obviously, there's so much talent there and so much love for fighting games, and yet, in part due to the fact that you can't enter tournaments with prize, entry fee thing, they just have not had the same like grassroots tournament structure. Don't you think that's like probably why that you just can't run a grassroots tournament?
Well,
you can't.
You do. But you just don't give prize money, and it just comes out of your pocket.
Okay, so sure, if you right.
But, I mean, isn't that what like Master Cup and even Cooperation Cup and all that stuff like that? They do,
but in terms of like the U.S., which has dozens of major tournaments throughout the year that you could travel to, that just doesn't exist in Japan. There's a relative handful of people who do that stuff, and relative handful of significant tournaments.
Right.
Because you just can't, and that has been a hindrance for Japanese fighting game.
So Curly W is saying that they even need a license for Tekken and Guilty Gear.
Yes, you need a license for everything, for every competitive game. Yeah, man. So you have the situation where you can't really develop a grassroots scene, and then it fast forwards into this bizarre super corporate scene because of the laws again, because of the fact that players can't play professionally unless they have this BS license. Yeah. So this whole regular progression of esports that's happened in every other country just can't have happened in Japan. They just they blitz right past the whole grassroots phase into this weird, very corporate situation.
And it's interesting because that ties really closely into something that Daigo was talking about recently, right? And it's funny because when he said this, I looked at it and I wasn't sure that I agreed with him necessarily, but when you look at the situation in Japan, it's very true, right? So what Daigo said was that there's this, like someone, I don't remember if it was FCGC's translated or somebody translated a quote from him saying that...
Giuna posted the tweet.
Oh, Giuna, okay, yeah. So go ahead and read it.
I got the tweet, and this is from an interview that Daigo gave. When the FGC was in dire times, there were people who put forth great efforts to ensure the flame of the FGC did not burn out. But now these people are not receiving any benefits for their sacrifice. Even though they sowed the fields, the ones reaping the harvest are separate.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's exactly what's happening over there, right? Because the JeSU guys are coming in here and they're just like kind of ruling an iron fist over the whole entire thing, and it feels like they're hurting. I mean, look at this. Think about this, too, is that one of the only reasons why this Tokyo Game Show Super Premiere exists is because of Momochi. 2 years ago, he ran the event. He said, I'm not entering this. I'm running this event because the previous year was so bad. Remember that year? Like, all the U.S. players and all the foreign players went there. Like, what? They streamed one pool? Remember that?
Right. Oh,
they streamed one pool.
And it was like all Gutex matches?
Yeah. They literally streamed one pool. And it was the worst thing ever. And Momochi's like, no, this can't happen next year. I'm running this event. And since I'm running it, I can't enter it. So he didn't enter it. And then he did. And so he did it well. And so it came back to Tokyo Game Show. And like, hey, it's still here. And now he can't even reap any of the benefits of it, right? Just like Daigo's saying. He's literally one of the guys who sowed the fields, and he's not reaping any of the harvest from it. Like, literally. And that is, like, the worst thing, dude. Like, that is...
It is really bad news. I had the same reaction that you did, because my first thought is... Well, in the U.S., I mean, most of the people I know who run big tournaments or who run streams and so forth, they were around, right? But then if you think about it from the Japanese perspective, it may be very different.
Because I was thinking, like, one of the reasons why I'm so supportive of EVO, so supportive of 10-0, is because they're all very good about culling people within the FGC to keep doing stuff, right? Especially like what Seglia is doing, right? And then even at EVO, like Nothing XS is the head tournament organizer, and he grabs other FGC people and stuff. And then you have people like Chris Seglia, who's just only grabbing FGC people to do more to do a bunch of the production stuff.
I mean, even other orgs ESL's fighting game related stuff was all fighting game heads.
Right, Compton and all these
fighting
guys.
game heads. Yeah. Beyond the Summit, all fighting game heads.
Yeah.
Like it's they fighting game people have really done a good job of like being the ones to take control of the FGC's various businesses.
Right.
But not everywhere, I guess.
Right. And in Japan, this is not the case. So, you know, like I said, when Daigo mentioned this at first, I was like, I feel like it's not that bad. But no, yeah, now that we're talking about this JeSU stuff, this is definitely a horrible situation, because you think about it, like, what about all the guys like Matsuda or Matsun or all these other guys who are putting on the Cooperation Cups, who are putting on XEST, who are putting on the Master Cup, and all these guys like that? These guys are all going to get shoved out of the way, right? Like, if some JeSU corporation comes out and says, okay, we're going to run this crazy 5v5 Third Strike tournament or 5v5, you know, Tekken tournament, like, what are those guys going to do? They're not going to pull them into doing it. They're probably not going to pay them to run it, right? You know, and it's just like, it's kind of why I didn't want MLG to take over the fighting game community a long time ago, because I was like, if they do that, they'll have their own streamers. They're not going to need, you know, Team Spooky. They're not going to need Spooky. You know, they'll find their own graphical artists. They're not going to hire Boss Logic. But then again, Boss Logic turned out fine.
He's doing fine,
He
man.
turned out fine.
He's doing
so,
all right out there.
Every time I mention him, people are always like, he's FGC? And I'm like, are you kidding me?
He did well
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Curly, I'm including Melee.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I don't know, is that imperialist of me? I don't know. But that's what I was thinking, and thinking about people at BTS. And anyway, I can see where Daigo is coming from.
Absolutely.
I can totally see it.
I mean, when we came in to talk about this topic, I was going to be like, I don't know if I agree with him. Yeah. But now that we've talked about all this, I totally agree with him. I totally agree with him.
Yeah, I mean, they just, the whole side of the FGC, that is the tournament side, the tournament organizing, the broadcasting, they just couldn't. They couldn't develop it legally. The law made it very unlikely that it would develop. So you have the players, right? The players are still around. But what other side of the FGC like could have developed legally? I'm not sure.
Now here's the question: do you feel like all the other Japanese players are almost kind of? Do you feel like they should join in solidarity with Momochi and just reject it all and just be like, look, this sucks and we're not going to have any part of this? But then how mad is JeSU going to be? Then they're going to be like, oh, then you're not winning on this money. We get the whole... So we could advertise this tournament with money.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be
But it would be
a big fiasco.
Yeah, right? It would be a big fiasco.
You can't ask other people to do that, and... it's too much money on the line.
Yeah,
so if somebody wants to have that position, definitely that's great.
Yeah,
but if they don't feel that they can, I understand.
Right, because it's
too
like
much.
It's like, hey, Gotcha-kun, support Momochi or get a house. Right?
Really?
He got a house.
That's literally
He literally got a house for playing Street Fighter. I mean, it's like, how do you? Thank you, Wasik. How do you tell somebody like, oh, you need to stand for your morals and like support Momochi? Like, it's like, oh.
So I hope that there's some way for Momochi to legally fight against this. I just don't know anything about the Japanese legal system, right? But I hope that there's some avenue where he could challenge the requirement of having a JeSU license in order to earn money. But I think part of the problem is that this is an event that JeSU was putting on, they were involved in it. So they could just decide anyway to have a rule in their rule set that says you have to have the license, even apart from any legal concerns. So I don't know if he would have any legal recourse against this tournament, but in others, I hope that there's some way for him to get around it. I just don't know if there is.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big bummer. The scene is super strong. Of course, that's where many of the most talented players of all time in many games have come from. The player side of the Japanese FGC, fantastic. But the law has really hamstrung them in terms of the rest of the development of the grassroots scene. Unfortunately.
Man.
That's how it seems to me. I don't know.
And you know what the hardest thing about it is? Obviously, there's very little we can do here in the States.
Of course.
And that's I think a lot of the frustration too. You know, it's just like we can yell at them. We can't even get Capcom to get better netcode, right? Like, I mean, like, how are we going to expect them to fix this JeSU kind of thing? You know what I mean? And it's just like,
Yeah. You know what? I think that top left center is probably right. That Daigo's comment is about as direct a show of support as we'll see from short of someone else refusing the license.
Yeah.
That seems pretty.
It's probably
plausible.
not a coincidence. Well, when was this?
That was actually before.
Oh, it was before. Okay.
He said that statement before Momochi.
Gotcha. Oh man. Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, and even if there was like a GoFundMe or a Patreon for Momochi and stuff like that, that's still really shitty because then that just means all the people are giving the money, and that money that was money that was supposed to be his in the first place, right? We shouldn't be the ones responsible for making up for JeSU's ridiculous license.
Totally agree with that.
So it's a problem, but I don't know how you fix that because, you know, Japan does have a lot of these issues, and like I said, who knows how much behind the scenes action. Again, conspiracy hat theory again. I don't want everybody quoting James Chen says the Yakuza runs JeSU and saying, you know, it's like, come on. Like, but you know, I mean, who knows?
I have no idea. You know, as I mentioned, Chong MC, while it's true that the Japanese legal system puts roadblocks in the path of people trying to earn money playing video games, as I said, there is this potential loophole of the head of the agency tasked with governing the law that's related to this saying in an interview that you don't need to be a professional to get money, to get compensation for work in a way that's much more than like the 100,000 yen. Mm-hmm. So it may be that you don't need a JeSU license, but that's up in the air. So that's part of what I hope, that if there's a way for Momochi to challenge the license scheme, I hope that it's through that. Again, I just don't know if that's something that's available in the Japanese legal system. That interview is getting deleted from the internet real fast.
Oh, man. Is there a loophole for free
It's more than
games?
just esports, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So High Fight from Japan, so I was hoping he would show up to talk in Japan, says it's just no one wants to risk that, you know, even if you don't need a license.
Of course.
Like
so
and that's another problem.
I totally get it. I mean, as a lawyer, I often recommend things to clients that they not do something that maybe is legal, but like, come on, guys, like, don't take the risk, right? So I do that all the time, and I get why they would feel the same way about it. But from Momochi's perspective, I'm hoping that he can challenge it and show that you don't need a license. So I don't expect JeSU to make a change, of course. Like I said, there's this side where you can just be conservative in your legal approach, and also I think it's a protection scheme that they are probably loath to give up. But if you're Momochi, then hopefully he can do something about it.
Yeah, and also, High Fight, now, I wasn't sure if you were here earlier, but we asked, like, can guys like Hameko and Aru mention the fact that Momochi can't get the money? Like, is that something that they just say during commentary? Like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, dude, if Momochi wins this, he doesn't get any money. You know, is that something? Or are they just not even allowed to say that?
Good question.
Know, I'm really curious about that. Like, is it public for it? Can they just be completely, directly, openly public about it? So,
I don't know. And yeah, I heard about the Puzzle and Dragons event where a kid won it, and so he got no money at all because he's not eligible for the license.
That's right.
And it was a lot of money that he could have won, but unfortunately he was too young.
Oh, okay. So High Fight says he doubts that they know when they are doing commentary. I mean, they have to have known.
Come on,
right?
buddy. Yeah.
They know. I'm sure they
like,
know.
if I know that Momochi doesn't have a license and then is not going to win money, they definitely know.
Yeah.
Right? For sure.
Right. But, so a kid won a Puzzles and Dragons tournament and couldn't get any of the money there.
Yeah.
Not even like the 100,000 or anything.
I think it was 0.
Jesus.
That's what I read.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Can't the family, like the parents, like the legal guardians, you know? Ugh. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely laws.
It was also $5 million for that kid, and he did. Oh, buddy. That is to say about $50,000, a little less, and he couldn't get any of that because he's too young. Imagine just the caprice of age is the reason. Like, just how absurd.
I mean, like,
You just happen to not yet be the right age. Oh,
I mean, like, honestly, like, obviously you don't want to throw anything, right? Because that's a problem, right? Because that's just against the face of the competition.
Okay.
But let's say, like, what if someone like that kid, or Momochi, like, let's say he gets Mago stunned and this is for the win. He hits him, drains him down to no life, and then stops and was like, look, Mago's giving me the money now. You know, like...
The second place winning is still unavailable to you. So it's not like he could split it with Mago in some way.
Right.
Mago, if he was to give all the first place money to...
Well, he would... Obviously, Momochi would be like, keep your cut that you deserve, and I get the rest.
If Mago ended up with the same second place money, but at least a little bit went to Momochi, maybe.
Like, what if that was just something as a way to protest or something, you know?
I'm sure they would make Mago lose his license.
Yeah, I know,
there's no way they'd
that's
stand
the problem,
for that.
because that's collusion. That is collusion.
No way. Yeah.
And that would be a problem. But
it's
collusion is one thing,
rules.
but if it's also like boom, this is collusion, like stream, because this rule is dumb.
Just as a protest?
Yeah.
I mean, if you do that, you're just definitely not going to get the money. Yeah, so there's probably other ways to go about it, but it would be great. Don't get me wrong. It would be awesome.
Oh, man. God. It's crazy, dude.
So this sucks.
Yeah.
Right? In conclusion, sucks.
Yeah, there's the new article. James Chen encourages collusion. Oh, God. It's not an ideal situation. Not an ideal situation at all. So
it's super weird, man. Mm-hmm. I remember, like 10 years ago, I wrote an article that was about the potential pitfalls of what if esports is just considered sports and is regulated in exactly the same way as other competitions.
Dude, I
had an idea of what that would mean in the U.S., and in some ways it'd be positive because there are obviously some good regulations about that, but in other ways it would be pretty negative. And I didn't even think about what it would be like in other countries, so I didn't know the law.
Right.
So, dude, it sucks.
I literally just had an interview with a podcast, and I was just saying to them, too, that I hate the fact that everything esports is doing is trying to follow sports.
Yeah,
I was like, we just need to make up our own rules. We're a digital medium. We don't have to follow all these other things, you know?
Well, since we're kind of on this topic, Intel World Open was announced.
Okay. Fair enough.
Right.
Fair enough, yeah,
So this is going to be... For Street Fighter V and Rocket League, it will be a competition that's teams-based, and it will be based on countries. So, like, there'll be the U.S. team and whatever, right? And each of those games will have a prize pool of $250,000, so $500K total.
Yes.
And it will be at the same time as the Olympics. It'll be in Tokyo for the Summer Olympics in 2020. And obviously, the fact that it's going to be there at that time is like the reason for it. You know what I mean? Like this is not there happens to be a tournament at the Olympics or at the same time as the Olympics. No, it's because of the Olympics that they're doing.
Dude, Chung MC, I've said that a million times. Esports should regulate like chess rather than sport. I remember when we first started talking about how much we hated the word esports, and I said I just want to come up with another term that can umbrella even include like tabletop, CCGs, chess, all those kind of things like that. Like honestly, that's where it should have gone.
It really should have gone that way. You were right.
I mean, I said like my whole thing was like, let's just call it strats, right? And then someone said that's a problem because that sounds like guitars because there's a Stratocaster and whatever like that. But I was like, just make up a new word.
Just make it up.
And just because that's where sports comes from, right? Sports is from a word to sport, right? And so strats would have come from strategy.
I get it.
And it just would have been great if we just had something else and just umbrellaed everybody else. Even if they maybe didn't, but we could at least come up with our own rules. We don't have to follow all this.
We knew it was a bad idea.
Because I mean, like the franchising thing that like Owl is doing and everything like that with the cities and everything like that. It's all just I don't know.
Did you hear about the rumor of the new Call of Duty League team in Los Angeles?
Oh no! Well, what's the rumor?
Well, there are going to be 2 Call of Duty teams in Los Angeles.
Okay.
That the name of one of them will be the Gorillas, not the Gorillas, but like the guerrillas.
Like the war guerrillas?
Yeah, like people who fight a clandestine war. Yeah. That's going to be our local team name. What?
I mean, did they just pick that because it ends in LA?
I have no idea why. It's so absurd to me. Whatever. So there's going to be this tournament that Intel will be sponsoring, I guess. It'll be for Street Fighter, and it will be for Rocket League. Hey, Intel, let me know if you need a commentator. I'll be good on the bike.
Yo, damn.
I'd love to be involved with something relating to the Olympics. I would love
But I mean,
to do
so how
that.
much official association does this have with the Olympics? Is this like some sort of official Olympic thing, or is this just Intel saying we're running this around the same time as the Olympics, and we're just going to be kind of associated with the Olympics, right?
That's my understanding, is that it's not... Oh, no, my bad. Intel and the International Olympic Committee announced that they will be holding the Intel World Open in 2020 alongside the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Imagine if I could commentate. I would be blacklisted from video games forever, but it would just be...
Here's the
what
thing,
a great 2 minutes it would be.
Like, what if they came up to me and like, hey, James, here's all this money to commentate this. Am I gonna be Momochi? Or am I gonna be Gachikun? You know? Isn't this a terrible story? Oh, it moved me all right to a bigger house. You know? I mean, so I kept thinking about it. This is like my favorite Simpsons quote ever.
Great quote. Yeah.
Dude, oh god, like what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do, dude? I don't even know.
Fart jokes. You guys are great. That's not what I'm thinking at all. No. It would be much more incisive and targeted toward my hatred of the Olympic Committee. That would be all I'd be talking about.
God, what the hell would I do, dude? I don't even know. I don't even know what I would do in that situation. You know what I mean? It's a tough one. God, it's annoying. It's annoying to have to think about that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's. See, that's the question, right? It's work. Do I just do it, or do I just
Part of why I would not quit being a lawyer is that I can make dumb decisions.
Yeah, exactly. That's the worst thing about it. So, let's just say it moved me.
Yeah, full toss. I figure I would have like a minute until I get cut off. So it would have to be something like very fast. They would have flown me all the way out to Tokyo, right?
All you would hear is
find your way back home.
So by the way,
baby.
my thoughts on the Olympics. The Olympics.
I'm not even on the stream anymore. Yeah, it's like I'm off here. Yeah.
And then like it just goes silent all of a sudden, you know, and you hear we'll be right back due to technical difficulties. God. So
anyway, good. I'm sure they won't hire me, but hey. Let me know.
So the Olympic Committee is kind of... So some people are asking what's the hate to the Olympics. They're a little predatory towards a lot of the countries. Like when they were in Brazil, they kind of left the place in ruins, you know.
It's been the case for a lot of different cities where cities will pay a lot of money in order to create the infrastructure for it, and that basically bankrupts the city. And they don't use a lot of that infrastructure because it's nonsense. Like nobody uses an ice luge again. You just don't.
Right.
It's just there forever sitting there. So there's there's that, and there's so many opportunities for corruption, from the selection of the cities in the first place to who gets to build all this new infrastructure to who broadcasts. There's all these opportunities for corruption, and they do not miss those opportunities.
Yeah, and another thing too is like it's the same.
It's
story.
like FIFA's, right?
It's the same story as everything, right? You have this organization, they become really powerful. I remember reading an article that there was a waitress who attended who served a bunch of the Olympic Committee members at a restaurant, and they just spent like $50,000 on food, $100,000 on food, or whatever. They just ordered everything. They just didn't care, because they're just getting all this money, and they don't care that they're ruining cities and all these other things like that and stuff. So
I was really against Los Angeles having it, but LA ended up getting the bid, and we're gonna have it in like 10 years or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's not so bad for our situation because we have the infrastructure already. We already had the Olympics, right? We're a huge city. It's very wealthy. So we just have this stuff. We don't need to be out for it in the way that many other cities would be.
It's really interesting because I even had an Uber driver, a Lyft driver, who was telling me all about it too, because he was like, He was really, I mean, it was an older gentleman, so he remembers the whole thing.
Okay.
He was like, you know, when the Olympics first came here, I forgot what he said. It was either Rideshare Thursday or something, or no, it was
alternating
flex
schedule.
hours.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Flex hours came from that because they wanted to empty the freeways out for the athletes' travels, and a lot of actually cool things came from it.
Right.
So,
yeah. My mom and dad were living and working in LA at the time. It was right before I was born. No, it was right after I was born actually, and they have told me stories of how great those like 2 weeks were because you could drive on the freeway because there had been so many changes to people's schedules
Working
for
from
work.
home came
that as well.
Thing. Yeah,
that there just were way fewer people on the freeway, and they were like, oh, it was like a golden age of like 2 weeks of no traffic.
You remember Carmageddon, that one day that was like they're gonna shut that, like this is gonna be the absolute worst traffic. I went to work that day, and I drove home, and I could have went.
I know exactly.
Because
there was a big
left.
road closure in LA. They were making a new bridge, and they warned everybody the traffic will be horrendous. Don't go outside, basically. Like just hang out in your local area. And that was such a good warning that everybody did do that. So the few of us who had to drive, I had to drive that day too. Great, no traffic.
I could have been doing donuts.
Yeah.
Like literally, there was nobody near me at all. I couldn't see a car within sight at all. It was wonderful. So
anyway. There are some cities that don't get bankrupted by the Olympics, but many of those still have to contend with the corruption of the selection in the first place and the broadcasting and requirements of actually legal changes that the Olympics demands. A whole bunch of nonsense. Anyway.
Yeah, I would imagine Vancouver and Calgary could do well with that. I know Russia had a lot of problems there.
Right, so again, cities that are already big enough to have infrastructure or they're wealthy enough to have infrastructure, whatever.
Or, hey, we already have a bunch of stadiums.
Exactly right. But yeah, Sochi, Russia, I mean, how many billions of dollars were just corruptly thrown out the window? Who knows?
Do you even remember some of the stuff that they had to do for that? They actually went out and because Sochi actually had a really bad stray dog problem. Okay. That they actually just went out and just started mass murdering a bunch of dogs because they didn't want the stray dogs to annoy the visitors from the Olympics and stuff like that. I remember reading articles about that, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, this is just not cool at all, you know?
Anyway, I'm not down with the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's a bummer because the athletes I support hugely, and it's very fun to watch, very interesting.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, right? Like, my friend wants to go to Japan next year to experience the Olympics. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I want to go too because I love watching the Olympics. I love watching the Olympics. And don't get me wrong, like, I love the Olympics. No, I'm just kidding. Unlike this guy, I love the Olympics. Okay, no, I enjoy the Olympics. And one of my favorite summers when me and my best friend and my brother would just sitting here. This was during college, and so we had all of summer off, right? So we were just chilling, and we just watched, like, every day. We just woke up, watched the Olympics until night, went to sleep, and we were watching handball, we were watching everything in the middle of the night and everything, and it was wonderful, and it was great, but it's just, again, you see that, and it's awesome, but then there's just that top part of it that's like such a problem, you know what I mean? So
yeah, there's a lot of scum that rises to the surface. Just like the bay in Brazil that literally had feces floating in it that they made people swim and do water sports in. Cool. Thanks, Olympics and local government for screwing up. All right. Anyway, anything else about this?
Shay, the word is solidarity. There you go. No, I am not staying in solidarity with David. Let's just say it moved me. To a bigger house. I said the soft part loud, the loud part soft.
Classic.
I quote that one to my brother all the time. And you know what the ironic thing about that is, too? Is that's the one episode of The Simpsons that Matt Groening didn't put his name on.
Really?
Because that was the critic tie-overs episode where the critic, John Lovitz, the critic, came over, and he hated that.
Oh, yeah?
Because that was Fox saying, you're putting the critic on the show to promote our critic, to promote the new TV show. And Matt Groening's like, no, I won't do it. And it sucks because that's a great episode. That's man got hit by, encroached by football. That's, are you saying boo or boo earns?
Oh, classics.
Like, that episode has some of the greatest lines, including that move me to a bigger house, which is funny when you, in perspective
that's
of
true,
it.
Actually, yeah.
It's just like, the whole thing is just, it's so weird. It's so funny. So... Oh, man.
All right. Okay. You want to move on now?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break because we've been going on for an hour.
Yes.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about other tournaments that would happen over the past weekend. We'll get to your thoughts on Shizumaru and Mortal Kombat 11 OS and very interesting 5-5 matchup topics.
That's right. Be right back, guys.
Olympics suck. This is James. According to me, James Chen.
No, you have to be like, right. Olympics suck, right.
The Olympics suck.
And then you have to sniffle afterwards. Yeah.
Olympics are terrible.
Are the Olympics gonna kill? Are the Olympics gonna kill?
They have.
Yeah, just I know I saw somebody on the chat over here just asked me. Some guy Zero said, "Remember Ace Attorney tomorrow." I'm actually gonna continue the Phoenix Wright stuff on Thursday.
Okay.
Because I forgot tomorrow. There's something I need to do tomorrow night, so I can't do it all day. So I will do that on Thursday. Tomorrow I will probably play some more Tekken on my stream. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Tekken.
Because I had a lot of fun playing it last time, and I need to keep going. On that because I'm tired of playing Tekken once every 2 months and never getting any stronger at that game.
Yeah.
So, and it's crazy too because even the last time I played it, I didn't feel like I did bad. It was one of those situations where it just felt like, okay, I'm doing well in Tekken now. I'm obviously not doing a lot of the high stuff because I don't know which way to sidestep, what moves to try to sidestep, things like that. And that's just stuff I need to go to the lab. And that's probably, obviously, the movement is my biggest area. But, like, a lot of the other things about that game make a lot more sense to me. And I feel like a lot of it really is character, lack of knowledge. And so I just need the experience with that. Fought a Marduk, and he just destroyed me because I didn't know how to deal with tackles. And that's, like, all Marduk does is tackles. And I was like, I don't know how to counter tackles. And then people were like, oh, when you see the arm go up, use the opposite button.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, so when I see this hand go up, I'm going to use the opposite button on a visual standpoint.
I see.
But it was supposed to be the same button for the visual stand because I'm dyslexic with left and right, and it's just really bad. So, wait, you actually got Tokido drink ads? High Fight? Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean that? Are you the one that got him the energy sports drink commercial where he headbutt the boxer?
That's so cool.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, while you were watching the stream, you got that ad with Tokido?
Oh, you got the... Oh, I see. The ad that we ran, we just got the Tokido ad. Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought he was the one who, was like, I am your agent, Tokido. Here is the... Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, he got the birdie headbutt. That's cool. I was like, on our stream? I don't remember Tokido being on our stream at all. There's no way Tokido would be watching us.
Oh, man, NBC's coverage of the Olympics is just famously terrible.
Oh, yeah.
It's so bad.
I still remember the one year, and obviously, I mean, for very clear reasons, but I still remember the one year that China and U.S. were in the finals of the women's soccer. And, it was almost unbearable for me to listen to because it was just so one-sided, the commentary. It was so one-sided, and it was just like every time China was about to score, go, oh no, oh my
really?
God,
oh wow.
No. And then the U.S., let's go, oh, they're there.
Really?
Oh God.
Wow.
Me and my family were just like.
Some people in the U.S. have family heritage in China.
Yeah. Oh, man. It was kind of like, dude, handball.
Handball's a blast.
If you haven't watched you know how sometimes you see the basketball trampoline sports and stuff like that, and you're like, this is kind of sick. Handball is like that, but it's actually an official sport. That one year I said that we watched during the summer, we had never watched handball before, and when handball came on, we were like, this is the greatest thing ever. And we looked up the schedule for handball. It was at 3 a.m. in the morning, and we made sure to watch it every time. Oh God, it was so good. It was so good.
All right. Let's come back.
The ads are done?
Ads are done.
All right. Let's do this.
All right. Other stuff happened over the weekend as well. There was Kumite in Texas, which took place in Arlington, Texas. Did you watch any of this?
I did not get a chance to watch it.
Well, they had it at the Esports Stadium Arlington. Yeah,
which Panda is helping design himself. So
indeed he did. Yeah. It's at the stadium where Team Complexity is there, and it's right next to where Dallas where the Cowboys play and stuff like that, because it's all the same ownership group.
I will tell you a true story. I got an article saying the 100 most influential or important people in esports, and he was on there.
Is that so?
Yeah, because he was helping design this kind of stuff like that. I was on there too.
Is that so?
What? That's why they sent it to me, and I was like, what?
That's so cool, dude.
Mind blown. Yeah, I was like, oh.
That's so cool.
Yeah, no, I was happy. I'm just doing a little humble brag.
I think it's great. That's amazing. Yeah. Totally.
Oh, man.
Anyway, super cool looking venue. I mean, very esports, right? Like, it's like remember the esports arena's intro where, like, there's, like, the blue lights?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's that. It was, but red.
Right.
Anyway, cool looking venue. They had Kumite in Texas there this year. Tekken 7 was won by Jimmy J. Tran. Oh, I should say that it's a Tekken World Tour Challenger event, and it was a DOA 6 World Championship point match.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
So Jimmy won Tekken, Shadow got second, then Speed Kicks. DOA 6 was won by Excalibur Blades, then Killy DeLorean, and then Mr. Quiggle. Smash Ultimate won by Austin. Dozo won DBFZ. MK11 was won by Deoxys. Man, his Garrus is looking super good. Super good. Some people think Garrus is better
never
now.
bad. Garrus was never... that's why I just said that. I was like, Garrus was never bad.
Yeah, he might have been number one the entire time. So.
I have been saying... No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm also the guy who's like, Brock is the second best.
Right, yeah, probably not.
Like, whatever.
Second place was King Gambler, mostly with Scarlet, which is cool. I hope Scarlet
okay.
wins at some point, but it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Samurai Showdown was won by Bad Intent with Charlotte. KDZ got second with Jubei, Kyoshiro, and Halomaru.
Kyoshiro? That must have been early on in the tournament. He's not bad. He's not bad now, but, I mean, it's just not Jubei, right? Jubei is ridiculous.
Soul Calibur 6 was won by Sane with Ivy. And SF5 was won by Nigel EX with Barra.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Nice work out there.
Good job to him.
Ooh, Base won KI. They had KI. That's
cool. And they had Guilty Gear.
Gear was won by Shinku. BB Tag by also Shinku.
And again, I mean...
and Marvel Infinite by Stealth.
The Kumite in Texas is always... and Kumite in Tennessee, they always run a bunch of different games.
They do. And what's cool is that they give really good support to games that tend not to get as much support elsewhere. Like... Well, I guess maybe MK is not the best example nowadays, but NRS in the past has been like that. They've done a great job. KI as well, they're still running that. They always do a good job.
You know what the thing that makes me sad is? I've never been to one of those tournaments. I've never been to a KIT, and it makes me sad. I would love to go one of these days.
Yeah, I went to one in Tennessee a couple of years ago. It was cool. All right. That was KI Texas. Thunderstruck took place as well. That was a tournament in Mexico. And it was a Dragon Ball Fighters Tenkaichi event and a CPT ranking event. This was in Monterrey, in fact. SF5 was won by 801 Strider.
Yes.
See that?
I actually did see part of that top 8. I was watching a little bit of that because it was... I forgot when it came on, but I just happened to be working on stuff so I could have it on in the background. So, but shout outs to a lot of the Mexico scene there. And also, I just want to give a personal shout outs to Phantom Miria as well.
Okay.
Obviously, I couldn't understand the commentary, but she was doing the commentary for the top 8, and she was part of the EXO Academy.
Yeah.
And I actually had a session with her on commentary and stuff like that. So I'm just really happy that she got to do that top 8.
So it was in Spanish?
Yeah, she was doing it in Spanish. She and the other person were doing completely in Spanish.
I always support that. I think that's really great to do it in the local language.
Woo to Ernesto, thank you.
Woo.
Yeah, the crowd was super hyped. They did a really good job with the crowd mic, or they're just loud there, which I more more willing to believe.
Kusanagi got second with Sakura. Man, whenever that dude shows up, it's always good.
Dude, he's so good.
He is good. He definitely is good.
He beat he kind of messed up Commander Jesse. I saw that match and he kind of messed him up.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Jesse plays that character, but all right.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude. A lot of good players were there. That's cool. Dragon Ball FighterZ was won by Tekilse.
Yeah, and Chris G, I think, got second place.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Nice work. Ultimate was won by Joker. That's the player name. What do you got?
I still remember the story. So someone in the chat says crowd mic is essential. I still remember the year, I think it was 2005 EVO, the year that we teamed up with MLG.
Okay.
That we set up all of the crowd mic to record all the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And then MLG was like, can you tell your audience to be quiet? It's distracting our players while they're playing their top 8. And then we had to go up on stage and Tom or Tony was like, can you guys like not be loud? Because that was when Duck like won. I think that's when like Tragic ran on the mic was like, you remember me 5, you remember me, and then they got mad at us. So like for Street Fighter we couldn't be loud and stuff.
Apparently the mic is blowing up.
Oh no. Let's see here if this fixes it again. Let us know if that fixed it, because that sometimes just happens. Is it fixed or is it still bad?
Oh, that's a nice headbutt.
Oh. Is it fixed? Yeah. It's
High five.
weird.
It is definitely weird.
You know, so
He literally mutes it and unmutes it. And that's
yeah,
it.
on XSplit.
On
I just
XSplit.
like click the little microphone, unclick it, and it's fine.
I don't know what to tell you.
It worked years ago, and it still works today. So there you go.
KOF was won by Sabier.
Okay.
Sabbier. KOF 98. You thought I meant KOF 14? I did
Oh,
not.
okay.
MK11 was won by Gummy. Chris G second.
Ooh, okay.
Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. What? Was won by MT Euro with Guile. I'm going to read all of these. Second place was Velostamps with Guile. Third place was TSFM Chino with M Bison. Fourth place was LKL Gago Jogger.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe that's a huh noise. I don't know how you do that. Guile and Ken. Then fifth place were Rodrigo Kiba with Guile, Ken, and Hokuto with Ryu. Seventh places were XTL Pitts with Vega, and seventh also Fishban Pezmex with Vega.
I'm really disappointed that the Dalsum player who destroyed Flo on Fightcade wasn't there, you know?
I think he was South American. But that would be so funny, dude. I remember that. He had cross-up setups.
Dude,
with
cross-up
dude.
drills,
That was
yeah.
crazy.
Although, to be fair, someone kept doing that to me in Super Turbo, which I didn't even know it was possible in Super Turbo, and I was getting hit by cross-up drills, and I was like,
How about that?
what the hell is going on?
That is the one where Bison is a beast. That's for
Yes,
sure.
uh-huh.
But Guile's very good, too.
Yeah. Guile was the only character that could truly fight Bison, and it was an advantage for Bison.
Right.
But it was, I mean, in today's language, it would be 5.5,
Yeah.
4.5. Back then, it was like 6.4,
Yeah.
which meant it was very competitive.
Sure.
Nowadays, 6.4 means that it's completely a blow up.
I was talking about that the other day, too, yeah. Tekken 7 was won by
'Cause, Seijan
Jesse
was
Joestar, Akuma Lee Negan.
Seijan was joking about it when we were doing the restream. We're like, oh, this is not a 10-0 production. This is a 6.4 production.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, actually, in today's language, that's pretty good. So,
Rev 2 was won by Lord Knight.
oh, dang. Okay, he was there.
Soul Calibur 6 by Lolo MX. Under Night by Kusanagi.
Ooh,
With Yuzuriha.
okay. Yeah, Kusanagi is amazing.
He's definitely
He's
a good player.
such a good player.
No doubt.
He's another one of those players that, because he doesn't get to travel enough, we don't get to hear
Yeah.
about him enough. But
That's probably true.
if he got to travel a lot more, I mean, maybe he would be a good person to get. I don't know if he has a visa actually. or
He's come
not,
to the
so-
US.
He has
He
come
has
to.
come
Oh
to
yeah,
us,
yeah, of course. He was at like Texas Showdown and
He's
stuff like
definitely
that.
been
Yeah, okay. He just probably can't get the chance to travel. As
I don't know the
much, so,
situation,
yeah.
man, but he's definitely very
He's
good.
I mean, look, if you're out there and you want to sponsor a lesser known player and help them, Kusanagi is a really, really good choice. Very, very good choice. Just saying.
Glitch 7 was a Smash tournament, and the ultimate side was won by Esam Pikachu.
Oh god, that's so great.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I watched a bit of the grands. It was
But
definitely
you know
cool.
why that's so great, right?
Why is that so great?
Because this was the weekend of Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ash finally won, and and then like someone literally put out the tweet. I can't believe Ash won a tournament before Esam did. And then that day, Esam won a tournament.
That was before?
Yeah,
Oh, I saw that
Like,
tweet. That's funny. That was actually before. That's
funny.
Okay.
Oh, God.
But I heard Ash didn't use Pikachu. I heard that he used like a wolf Pokemon or something.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I don't know either. I just read about it. Anyway, Esam won it, then Light, the Buzz third, Nairo, Samsora. Rivals of Ether was won by Penguin. Did they not have Melee here? Wow, how about that?
Oh, dang.
Okay.
Really?
Anyway, what was interesting as well was that it was a low S-tier tournament, right? According to the PG stats.
Because I remember seeing that because it was like, ESAM won an S-tier tournament with Pikachu! And then it was like...
It was downgraded to a high A-tier after the event ended because a player dropped out, meaning that like the difficulty of the event was lower.
I just picture the Bart with the "at least you tried" cake, you know. I won an S tier. Oh, A tier. Okay. Oh man.
So that's a bummer.
Melee had another event at that weekend. That's why.
Oh, I didn't even hear about it.
Okay.
Smash Camp. Oh, by Zane. Nice work out there.
Okay,
that's cool. Shout out to Zane then.
Okay.
Zane and None. Wow.
Okay. But yeah, shout outs to ESAM. I mean,
that's great.
Look, it was one player dropped out, so it became an A.
That's so funny. Yeah.
ESAM. That's an S event in my heart, okay?
Yeah, it's whatever. I mean, even he afterward was like, look, I don't care that much about this.
Yeah.
It's not that important. Other people seem more upset about it than he did.
Isn't it that PG standards is Panda Global, right? So he's probably like, screw Panda Global and their rules. I mean, let's go Panda
exactly,
Global, you know?
yeah,
exactly.
for sure, dude. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's why he can't say anything about it. In his
heart.
He
has to be quiet, right?
In his heart, he's like, grrr. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, of course.
No, ESAM's awesome. So shouts, congratulations to him. That's
yeah,
awesome.
ESAM's cool, dude. He oftentimes will come to events and he like hangs out and watches Street Fighter and Mortal and other games. He's definitely into other stuff too. He's cool.
Yeah, I like talking with him. I like hanging out with him. So
I agree with that. That's there's one more. The Street Fighter League.
Ah, yes. Oh.
Week
Street Fighter
number
League,
3,
aka we are all mere mortals living in the world of just samurai.
Just samurai.
We are all mere mortals living in the shadow of samurai.
Here's what happened.
Jesus.
Storm beat Inferno 3-0, which means it was 801 Strider beating JB, Tommy Two-Step beating Punk.
Yep. Well, Punk went with Lucia. I think he was trying to be Punk, and it didn't work.
It did not work. He lost. And Mojo beat Broly. Then Gale beat Spirit, which meant Rob TV beat Sabin, Knuckledude beat Iodom, Shine beat CJ Truth. That was really good too.
Dude, CJ Truth looked like he was going to destroy Shine. Shine was down to the last round, and he won 4 in a row, basically, and was able to take it. So
it was cool. And then Frost beat Psycho, which meant Denkidius beat Sherry. Mm-hmm. Smug beat Dual Kevin. Mm-hmm. And then Samurai beat Automatic. And then Samurai beat Smug. And I feel like something's left off here. Samurai then must have beaten Denkidius as well.
No, yeah, he beat Denkidius and then Smug. Denkidius,
then okay, Smug. So Automatic, then Denkidius, then Smug.
Yes, and Smug had him down to this much left. Last round, Smug had like half his life, and then Samurai's like, let me just do a couple of EX demon flips into punch, and Smug is just going to eat them.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was a bit of a choke, but also excellent stuff by Samurai, who again OCV'd.
It's ridiculous.
Again.
Like, is this just going to happen for the rest of the season?
Why not? It happened for most of the last season.
I know, right? Like, I'm seriously, if I was Sherry and Dual Kevin, I would just be like, look, just
whatever,
skip
right? Yeah.
Or actually, they just need to have them, bide the time. So while Samurai's off to the side, just going,
powering up, right?
They just need to like kill the time. They had that new One Punch Man game. Have you heard how that played?
I did.
Where you just have to fight and last long enough until One Punch Man shows up and destroy. That's basically what they're doing, right? They just have to last long enough so that Samurai can just show up and take everybody out, dude.
He is doing very well. So currently it's Gale and Frost who are first place.
Yeah.
And Inferno is last place. They haven't won yet. Oh, there's only been 2 weeks of the competition.
Yeah, I know. But that's crazy, though. That's crazy.
That's all I got in terms of tournament results.
Yeah, Psycho was also 0-2, which is kind of unfortunate for them because Psycho was the one team last season who was having a little bit of problems as well. So,
the Psycho curse? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Rip kept calling it, and that's what Automatic was like trying to taunt him about when Smug looked like he was about to beat Samurai. And then Samurai struck. Yep.
He did. I mean, again, it's only 2 weeks into this thing. So.
I mean, like, I know it's a conflict of, you know, game interest and company interest, but can we rename Street Fighter League to Samurai Showdown?
Okay. Nice.
And just, you know, like, just fight against him all day.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, man.
Good work.
Okay.
All right, that's all 4 results. What do we got next? Oh, yeah. Talk to me, speaking of Samurai Showdown.
Yeah, yes.
About Shizumaru.
Shizumaru is out, and people hated him from previous games because he was super good.
Okay.
And in fact, 5 Special was the one where he had all the glitches that made him super powerful.
Sick.
So he had a turnaround punch, you know, move, which he still has in this one, but it's like super invincible and has all the things. It does a ton of damage. Well, in 5 Special, you could start charging it from the character select screen.
Oh, I remember hearing about this.
You know, and all that stuff. You can they kind of try to maintain a little bit. You can actually keep it charged between rounds in this game.
Okay.
Although the timer won't increase. So you can charge it, and as soon as it like you win, and like after you get the KO, you can let go of the button. And then hold it before the next round starts, and it'll keep charging from where the last one was and stuff.
If you let go, will he begin the next round by releasing?
Yes, actually.
Really?
Yeah, if you just
Wow.
let go, if you don't hold it down a single button again, because you can transfer the charge.
Uh-huh.
If you don't hold on, the next round just starts with him doing it right
that's
away
funky.
on the very, very first frame. So it's actually kind of interesting that they tried to keep some of that stuff in there, which is kind of neat.
I agree.
But here's the thing, right now, I see a lot of people saying that they think Shizumaru is going to be one of the best. Like, they're thinking,
that,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is like, he's going to be Season 1 Genjuro, basically, right? I've messed with him. I don't know if he's going to be that good just yet.
Okay.
Clearly, he's going to be good.
Okay.
There's no question he's going to be, like, maybe top 5 or whatever, like, because he's got very standard standing C that reaches really far. He's got an invincible uppercut. He's got jump arc changing movement.
I saw that, yeah.
He can float and stuff like that. He's got an instant overhead, right? But it's interesting because the instant overhead clip everybody sees is the backdash. He can float cancel into that, A on the way down. And then you see him do a standing attack into weapon flipping technique, and you're like, oh my god, you could instant overhead into weapon flip. That combo is really freaking hard, okay? And in fact, who was I talking to about it that said that they've just literally never done it. Like, they just haven't been. I did it once on stream.
Really?
I did once out of like 50 tries or something like that.
Oh.
It's not even a standing attack. It's literally dashing B.
Oh.
You have to do back, up, button, down A, into forward B in the span of like less than a second.
Okay,
that
nice.
whole thing in there. Now he can do backdash float into the air, like he has a little drilly move, and that's an overhead. So then it becomes just like Ukyo's Tsubamegaishi.
I see.
Right? It does good damage, but the bigger weakness is that he only goes forward, so that when you block it, he's dead. Right? Like Ukyo has that ability to just kind of try to get away. Even if you hold the tap down, it can do a ton of damage, and it's invincible on startup and everything like that. If you ever block it, almost everybody can SSM him for free. His weapon flipping technique is clearly very strong. He just throws his umbrella, eats every projectile in the world.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Yashimaru can throw his super, which throws like 700 projectiles, and he's like, whatever, and just eats them all up and hits them. So it's clearly he's clearly going to be very good.
Okay.
I'm not convinced that he's like Genjuro's Season 1 yet.
Okay.
But we'll see, because
You're leaving that open.
yeah, there's definitely, like, he has a cross-up, right? Which
Right,
very
I've
few
seen.
character has. But at the same time, he's got a particularly high jump and a particularly far jump. So, like, you have to cross them up from over. It's not like you could be near them and try to cross them up and stuff like that. Unless you jump over them, float, and then try to come down
Okay,
and do
that sounds kinda
which
cool.
people are probably going to get good at to do. You know what I mean? So, he's clearly going to be good. I'm not doubting that at all.
Fair enough.
Is he going to be better than Jubei, Charlotte? Maybe, probably around the same tier or something like that. Because in my opinion, those are the two strongest characters right now, are Jubei and Charlotte. So clearly going to be right around there.
Does it seem to you like he has like substantial like plausibility for improving, like player, like figuring out new stuff?
Yeah. If people can figure out more of these umbrella, like how, because the nice thing about it is you can float, drop, and then float again. So people might even be able to start doing crazy things with that, just to kind of change the jump arc and everything like that. So I think there's a lot of we're gonna find out more for the character.
Good.
Let's just find out. We're gonna find out more. So Genjuro is clearly still good. I don't think he might even be like 4th or 5th best right now. But I think Jubei and Charlotte are a little bit stronger right now. And I've been hearing Tam Tam and Ukyo are still super good as well. See. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's... he's really cool. He's really cool. He's definitely going to be a part of the meta. He's definitely going to be very much a part of all the tournaments.
Cool.
Like we're gonna see him in top 8s for sure.
Okay.
One of the cool things is that Jeff the Hero's been running the Ronin Rumble and stuff like that, right? So he's been running Ronin Rumble. That's going on every Sundays. It's just online tournaments, free to enter, whatever like that. This week he's doing a charity event. Shizumaru is going to be allowed in there, and I'm actually going to go on there and help commentate it. So
when is that?
This Sunday. Do
you know?
It starts at like 1 p.m., 2 p.m.
And it's on his channel?
Yeah, it's on his channel, Jeff the Hero channel. So, yeah. So, there you go.
Cool, man. That's awesome.
The next character, Sunday at 1 p.m. PDT. Yes, that is correct. So, there you go. Yeah. Kona actually entered last week, too.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's cool, man.
It was super, super cool. The next character that's coming out is supposed to be Basara, coming out very soon.
Okay.
Because Shizumaru was not known at the time. Was a surprise announcement at EVO, and then Basara is still on schedule, so for next month, I believe. So
very good.
There you go. Yeah.
That's cool. Are you gonna play him or? I mean, Shizumaru.
Shizumaru? No, I mean
you don't care that much.
Well, the thing is, I've got 2 top tier characters anyway, so because
enough.
It's not even. Charlotte was kind of intentional because I don't really care about Charlotte, but I was just like, this character's way too good. Right? Even in season 1, when some people were like, I don't know if Charlotte's that good.
Are they calling it season 2 now?
That's what I'm calling it. It's not. It's not really season. It's still season 1. Okay. I should say 1.1.
Yeah. Okay.
1.1. But season 1.1. I thought Charlotte was super good, and so when we were all practicing for EVO and stuff like that, I just picked up Charlotte to make sure I gave everybody Charlotte experience. And as I kept playing her, I was just like, this character's so broken.
Okay, all right.
So Charlotte is still there. Jubei I just played because that's my character loyalty pick.
Yeah.
And then it just so happens that both of them are super good.
Yeah.
And it's weird because Jubei's never really been super good.
Okay.
So it's actually kind of cool.
Congrats.
It's kind of nice.
Congrats.
So, yeah.
That's a nice feeling.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that. I'm good with that. So.
Yeah, it's season 1 still. Season 2 is next year.
Yeah.
Just
so
make sure.
Mina's the first one, and there's gonna be more characters. And everyone keeps asking me who I want to go in there. And I always say Sogetsu, just because I think it's weird to have Kazuki there and no Sogetsu, because one's the fire, the ice guy, right?
Obviously.
I want Caffeine Nicotine.
Right, hilarious name.
Yeah, although, like I said, they'd probably call him Nikki.
Nikki
or something like that. They call him Caffeine. He's probably just going to be called Caffeine.
Caffeine, yeah.
Right, or Caffeine N or something like that, yeah. I really want to see Seeger back.
I don't know Seeger.
Seeger's the guy with the big gun arm.
Oh, I have seen that, yep.
From Samurai Showdown 2. And then who was the last one I said I wanted back? I forgot who the last one I said. Shoot, I can't remember now who I said. I might have said Genon just because he's old school and people really want him back.
Isn't he coming back?
No, he hasn't been announced yet.
Oh.
He has not been announced yet at all, so it's kind of weird.
Okay.
So, anyways.
All right.
Genon. Whose emote is Genon? Gamego, huh? Okay. Yeah, I don't know why he's not in there. I feel like he's such a staple. That's Game Goons.
That makes sense.
Gamego. I thought that was a Japanese.
Oh, that's so funny.
I thought it was a Japanese.
All right.
Gamego.
Okay, that's funny.
Fair enough. That's awesome. Gibby's gonna get so mad at me.
I know, yeah.
He's gonna headlock me next time he sees me. I mean, shouldn't it have just been Goons? I think it should have been Goons.
Maybe there already was Goons. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I can now do as much as Gibby's squeeze machine.
Oh,
you know how he always takes us around?
Yeah,
and he has a 100-pounder, and he's always like, try this. Like, he's always trying to get people to try his, 100-pound squeeze machine. And I can do that now. I haven't seen Gibby since I could do that, but...
I saw him this past weekend. I'll let him know.
Oh, yeah. Let me know. I'll let him know. I'm coming for him.
I actually have a great idea for an emote, and I might need to hire an artist for me to draw, but I don't want to give it because I don't want someone copying my work.
Okay, all right. We'll chat later.
Okay.
Let's talk about.
I don't know if I can trust you with secret information though.
That's true.
You know,
I'm a blabber.
It's not like you're a lawyer who has
blabber.
NDAs and everything like
Correct.
that. So.
Brand new, never before seen technology has been discovered for the first time in Mortal Kombat.
To be fair, it's done slightly differently than it's before.
That's true.
Right.
So, Mortal Kombat has, for a long time, had the ability to do on-hit or on-block option selects. Right. So, on block, you get something that you don't get on hit, or on hit, you get something you don't get on block.
Right. And depending on, it's different on, like canceling on block into safe move or finishing a string or even canceling into a special move. It can be both ways, basically.
You cannot do a special move both ways.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, one will... In other words, what I'm saying is that sometimes the cancel is on block, sometimes the cancel is on hit, but it's never both.
It isn't both.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is to say, like, you can't option select in the same string something to come out, a special to come out on hit and a special to come out on block.
Exactly. Yeah,
but every other permutation works. So, this is totally new. Somebody may have found it in Mortal Kombat X.
Or 9.
And it turns out that it was in Mortal Kombat 4, even, because Paolo said that last week on this very program. It's true that it's done a little bit differently. So, when I found it in MKX, it was done by just pressing like a direction. You could just cancel. What you're doing basically is making the game forget about previous inputs. And you used to be able to do that by using a directional move. Now you can't do that. Instead, you just press a button and it's the same.
Right.
So the timing is pretty strict on stuff, but in... I will call it the Mamma Mia on commentary.
The OS,
I will call it on. Yes.
Oh, he's using the Mamma Mia.
I will absolutely. This is genius. Genius. Thank you, Parappa the Kappa. Absolutely, I'll be calling it the Mamma Mia on commentary for Mortal Kombat. So it's definitely good. It allows you to try things and you don't get the unsafe parts. That's basically what it's about. You do a string, and on block, only one hit of the string will come out, not the unsafe part. But on hit, the potentially unsafe part will come out, but it's on hit, so obviously it doesn't matter. Same thing with special.
Just to explain the Mamma Mia whole thing, that when Ryu came out in Smash Brothers, someone discovered that you could go straight from getting up off the floor into an uppercut, and it's completely invincible.
What?
And it bypasses any frames that you can hit him there. And they said, I discovered this tech. I'm calling it the Mamma Mia.
The Mamma Mia. Oh my god. One of the all-time funniest things that wasn't intended to be funny.
And so no
good.
reason.
So good.
And you know what? I was with, Corey Bell's obsessed with the Mamma Mia joke, right? And we were literally at a restaurant one time. It was me, Corey, and Olaf. And there's a kid with the Mamma Mia shirt from the musical with a Mario hat on. And we're like, does he know? Does he know? Like, should we tell him? Like...
So funny, dude.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so the option select is definitely good. It's a way to hit confirm easily.
The what? The what? The Mamma Mia's
I'm talking about the Mamma Mia.
Yeah,
The Mamma Mia is very good. And some people in the NRS scene are very worried about it.
Right.
Very worried about it. It is the same response that happened in Street Fighter 4 when option selects began to get new.
No, trust me, Kamala, that is exactly what we were thinking, too. So if a kid has a Mamma Mia t-shirt, like, it had to have been a Smash thing. I think it would have been more likely to have been a Smash thing than him being a fan of the musical Mamma Mia.
little out of date. Little out of date. Yeah.
Anyway,
hand-me-down. Definitely a hand-me-down from the parents. Not even from his older siblings, from the parents.
Anyways, continue.
So anyway, it's very good, and some people in the scene are freaking out. And I just feel like it's the same thing that's happened whenever a scene first encounters option selects. The same reaction happened in Mortal Kombat X when I discovered it. And not just me, Ali and other people helped. but nobody did it, so it didn't matter, right? It's the same response, too, that happened in SF4 when people started doing option selects.
The proximity. Do you remember the proximity guard one?
Yeah, I do, but that was much later. But early on, when people were just doing, like, meaty jump around house option select DP, other people freaked out. They were very mad about it. It ended up being that option selects, I feel, really helped that game in terms of making it so that it wasn't just an escape fest.
Right.
There were way too many escapes in that game without that kind of a tech. And that was important to making the game good. Crouch tech ended up being really interesting to play around. There was this whole wheel of options. It was. I'm serious. It was an important mix-up in the game.
Yeah, it was the important mix-up.
Crouch tech, delay crouch tech, stand throw, and all the ways to beat that were like a core mix-up of the game.
Right.
Without that stuff, it would have been, I feel, much less interesting. So I'm not worried about it, but I've been through it before.
Right.
I've been through it before, whereas many people in the NRS scene just haven't.
Right.
They just haven't. So while I'm not concerned, some people are, and there's like calls to patch it. Nobody's called to ban it, which is, I think, to their credit at least, right? Like, don't never do it. You can't police that stuff.
Right, exactly.
But they do want it to be patched. I hope it's not. I really like it. It's cool. It's not the kind of option select that you do every time. If you are always doing an option select for a string so that only one hit comes out on block, then you're not staggering. And I can just press buttons after I block anything. Now it's always my turn.
Right. Yeah.
Or if I'm doing an option select so that I only get a command grab if you're blocking, which means you're grabbable, then you should know that and duck or jump my command grab every time. So it's not the kind of thing you do every time. Instead, it just like adds this extra dimension of, is he doing the option select? Does he think now is the time to do it? It's actually just another mix-up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I wouldn't mind it getting patched out. Only just because it's just one of those things, like, to me, kind of like, for example, I will perfectly tell you that role canceling made CVS2 a better game, definitely, right? Yeah. But it's just, is this something that we want to try to have to force people to learn in order to play fighting games? You know what I mean?
I don't think it'd be the worst thing if it got patched out. I already liked the game a lot.
Right, yeah.
It's not like SF4, which I felt was headed in a really bad direction.
Right.
And that's why I worked on the option
exactly.
select.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's only where I stand for. I have no qualms about the option select existing. In fact, that whole jump, roundhouse, safe jump, uppercut is what Daigo was doing in Super Turbo to Honda for years. You know?
Right. It wasn't a new idea.
Right. Totally. It was like, oh, Street Fighter 4 invented option selects. Like, no, nobody designs options. The player designs option selects. You know, but like, only reason why is because like it sucks that if you're like, hey, I want to learn CVS2. This game looks fun. All right, here. Time to learn role canceling. Yeah. Because you can't compete unless you play K-Groove, right? I mean, that's just it. And then for Mortal Kombat, you know, if it becomes that, that's the only thing, is that I don't know if it'll even become, like, I don't think, if Sonic Fox didn't learn any option selects, you're not beating him with your option selects. He's beating you anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's going to be that much of a deal breaker.
But I do think that the scene is now at a point where it needs to take tech like this really seriously. Before, to be frank, I didn't think that there was enough hard competition that the top players needed to eke out like every little bit of advantage in a way that you may need it to in other games. Now I do think it's like even Sonic Fox needs to eke out every bit of advantage. He has not won every tournament. He's gotten to grand finals, but he has not won them all. So this is, I think, now a case where people do need to learn all the good tech, and they are. I mean, I don't know that they'll be doing this OS, but they already were doing OSs around some strings allow you to neutral duck under a command grab, but also flawless block.
Right,
the potential hit. People are already doing that stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, all the fuzzy guard stuff to the high lows is technically an option select as well, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
And,
so
you know,
the scene is doing that stuff, and I hope that they really do this option select stuff seriously.
Yeah, I do want to address, you know, what Shay says is like, isn't this going to negate the risk factor? You know, I don't think it negates some of the risk factor.
It does,
for sure. It does. But the thing about it is, it negates not. It doesn't add risk somewhere else. What it does is it negates also your unpredictability.
Yes.
Right?
That's a good way to
that just means that you're negating the risk, but you're also negating the unpredictability. Because right now, if I wanted to stagger or complete or cancel into a teleport with Scorpion to catch you by surprise or do something crazy, doing the option select is only going to give me those two outcomes.
Right.
and there is a guaranteed solution to dealing with both outcomes, and so you lose. So Scorpion's best staggers is forward 3. That's where his option select is, and so if I can't stagger with forward 3 because I'm doing the same thing like you said.
Yeah. If you never do forward 3-4, then I'll press a button and take control every time.
Right. You'll never get away with forward 3 into forward 3 ever again.
Right.
You'll never get away with that. So there you go.
Yeah,
so.
I highly agree with you. So I'm not worried about it at all. I'm looking forward to it.
So yes, so it does lower the risk.
But it does, right? So,
it does lower
for example,
the risk, yeah.
Sonya probably won't do her back 1, 2, 3, which is the super unsafe overhead at the end of that string.
Mm-hmm.
But if she just does back 1, 2 every time, or just back 1 every time, and there's not the mix-up of the stagger or whatever else, then you take control. It's your turn now, because you know she's not going to do that stuff. So it's a good way to phrase it, that you're giving up predictability by doing an option select.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or giving up unpredictability.
I'm sorry, yeah, unpredictability.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, it's actually not that hard to do, the OS.
That's a good.
The Mamma Mia is not that bad.
The good question here from Rose Ramirez is that, do you think NRS should balance? And I heard that. I'm not reacting to it because I want to make it as normal as possible.
Normalize it.
Yeah. So do you think that NRS should balance with the OS in mind, or ignore them, or even on top of that, do you think they should fix it?
Well, I don't want them to fix it. I wouldn't be too upset if they did, because the game is really good anyway, right?
Right.
But I would rather that they don't. I expect them not to, because last week, Paulo, who is the game designer, lead game designer, was in here in the chat, and he said that it's been in there since MK4.
Right.
So if something's been in there since MK4, I feel like there's like a reason that you're not changing it, right? Whether that's the game engine is just built that way, like whatever it is,
right?
You're cool with it, whatever.
It's just hard to do, but I don't know.
Hard to change.
The thing is,
maybe,
I don't think it'll be hard to change anymore, because it's very clear that they're very deliberate with the amount of block stun and hit stun you get from everything in this game. I mean, you can see it from the cancel windows, like the cancel advantages, and they are like everything happens to have the 7 window in between when there's a hold, when they want it to be, or this happens to be -6. Like, they clearly have the control over it, and so all you really have to do is just make sure everything's the same on hit and block. Right, so
they've never done that, and not in MK at least.
The cancel window, at least, not even the frame data, just at least the cancel.
That's what I mean.
Window.
They have never done that, so I don't know
That's
why.
true. That's true.
Why? You're right there.
That's true. That's true.
What do you got to say for yourself, huh? Again, I'm cool with it, but
yeah. That's like I said. The only reason why I'd want it gone is just because I don't want it to be like, oh, by the way, in order to get this extra level, here's this crazy, really obscure, ambiguous technique.
I think I am cool with that. It's like irrelevant at every level except for the tippy top. And then I'm cool with like having a little extra differentiation. I don't think that's
but I mean, there's that meme of the kid trying to step on the fourth step. You know?
Okay. So there are the people who are doing option selects but can't do the basic mix.
Yeah, because they're gonna learn about it right away, and people are gonna be talking about it on commentary. Oh, he's doing the option select, and so like, I mean, that's why everyone in Street Fighter 4 was the ultimate proof of that. That everybody had to learn Rufus's stand light kick into fierce, 1 frame link, because Justin was doing it, and I was like, just do dive kick, low short into spin. I'm like, it's safe on block, and if you hit them, you combo them, and there's a low in there that the other one doesn't have, and they're like, no, if Justin's doing it, I should do it too. I'm like, no, but that's how it is. You know what I mean? That's the problem. So,
can people see that you're doing the option select?
No. Unless we turn on inputs. That's the only way we can figure out.
I don't know.
But that's it.
But again, it's really not that hard. I went into training mode, and it took me maybe 10 or 15 times to do it the very first time with Baraka's 4-4-4.
Okay.
But by the end, I went in and I picked Cetrion, and I tried to do it with her 4-2-3, and I got it first try.
Okay.
It's really not that bad. So if you are a player who is dedicated to MK11, I really think that you should be able to get it.
Right.
It's really not that bad.
Okay.
That's it. Shoutouts to Tech. But I think it's like a test of the scene. Is the scene at a point where it needs to take tech like this seriously in order to compete? I think it is. I think it's a really strong scene now.
Yeah. No.
But I just wanted to see whether the top players themselves feel that way.
Right.
Interesting to know.
The question is, do you think that if this tech is strong enough that some guy who just sits there and masters the tech is going to all of a sudden start beating the top players who are too lazy to learn it?
No.
Right.
This is something that differentiates, like, it's the extra little bit.
Right.
The extra little bit. It's not something that's like definitional for sure. Okay. Enough.
Okay.
What else do we got?
You want to take a break, or do you want to just keep going?
Well, let's
keep going.
Keep on a moving.
Let's keep on. All right, so we've
What do we
got
got?
some
5-5.
5-5 stuff. Some good topic. Oops, sorry.
Oh, you got cat.
No, I accidentally kicked the cat.
Wow, the cat got Jamesed.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Which one do you want to start with here?
I mean, we have 2 topics right now, right?
Yes.
The viewer topic and the regular topic,
Correct.
right? Let's just do the regular one first, and then we'll do the viewer one, and then we'll pick the viewer question that we want to do.
Sounds good.
All right?
All right, so Sajam had a great video out. He's been doing that lately. Nice work out there. Where he said, you know what? You don't really want a fighting game that's all about footsies. You don't actually want that.
Right.
Most people don't actually want that kind of a game.
And everybody who says that, they don't really actually realize what they're asking for, is what it is. Because he's right. And Filament actually kind of expanded on this. The word footsies has just become this over-glorified term that everybody at the top level is like, yo, I just want to play footsies, or footsies is the best, or it's all about footsies. The best game have footsies. Footsies means something different for like everybody at this point in time, right? It's just one of those terms that's become so nebulously ambiguous. And like, you know, you're gonna be like, yo, I love footsies, says the MVC2 player. You know what I mean? Like Sanford is like, I want to play footsies in my fighting game. He likes playing MVC2, right? And for most of the counts, a lot of people are going to watch MVC2 and be like, that's not footsies. It absolutely is.
It absolutely
it's
is.
just a completely different kind of footsies,
Air footsies
than what you're like. Someone's going to be like, yeah, I want a game with nothing but footsies that's just walking back and forth and whiff punish. I mean, look at, dude, MVC2 has a completely different kind of footsies.
It does.
Right? And it's a wonderful
Smash
kind of...
has a different kind of footsies.
Smash has a different kind of footsies.
But it has footsies.
Yes.
And what's interesting, too, is that every game that has this, if you play a shooter, you're doing the same thing that we call footsies in fighting games. It's the same idea. If you're playing Madden and you're trying to juke around somebody, it's the same idea again. It's just a sort of general term about spacing and control and, you know, knowing where the opponent's going.
Right.
That's really what it's about.
And look, the thing about it is, that, like, one truth of the matter is, if you want a game that's all about footsies, that game already exists. It's called Footsies.
It's called Footsies.
And it's available currently on iPhone and Android for only $1.99.
That's true. It's a good price.
There you go. I have it. I have it
as well.
So there you go. No, but I mean, seriously, though, like... someone told me one time that they want a game where it's all about just, like, I want to whiff punish everything. And I was like, if you had to whiff punish the game, you would have one of the most miserable fighting games you'd ever have, right? And someone's like, oh, I can whiff punish in all these games. It's like, yeah, like you mentioned Third Strike, I can whiff punish everything. No one's whiff punishing Chun-Li's low forward kick. You know what I mean?
Not that, but it is important in many other matches.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, it's not all that way, right? And a lot of people think that that's what it's about. Like, they're like, why don't we just universally make it so that every move in Street Fighter V can be whiff punished and leaves behind hurt boxes and da-da. Dude, because you're going to have the most miserable game. Because everyone's just going to not hit any buttons.
Then you can't press a button.
Right. You can't control space anymore, right? And it's just, it's not what people want.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's a bad idea to have a game where the most basic way to beat a very common tool is the best way to beat it. That's just a bad idea. Like, if you're just not there, or if you just block and that's the best way to beat it, that's not great. So, I like the idea of footsies. I think it's a lot of fun to whiff punish. It's cool. I like to have a risk in neutral where if I get hit, it's damaging, like, or it turns into pressure or whatever. I like a lot of the things about it. And I tend to play characters that are maybe not what we would call typical footsies characters, but they all have to play it. Like, Dalsum has to play this kind of game, even though it's atypical. Zangief definitely does. He's primarily a footsies character. Most of the characters I play are like that, but that's not, like, the only thing I care about. If you don't then also have mix-ups and good defensive things and other stuff that lets you sort of express yourself as a player, like, there needs to be a lot more than, like, just this basic game.
I actually like it when you have a footsies fighting game and then there's that one character that just kind of just bypasses.
It's important,
right? Yeah. It's interesting because Keats just had a really great tweet about this as well. He was like, I forgot exactly how he quoted it, but he was like, you devs, it's hard to satisfy both people because for some people, doing something really hard, like playing a fighting game, that's what it was. It was playing a fighting game that's really mentally draining, like KI was. Yeah. You know how we always talk about when you play that you're just tired because you can't stop thinking in that game, right?
There's no break.
Like some people love that, and for some other people, it's too stressful and it's hard. Like, how do you control that? My response to him is, I feel like fighting games are one of the only ones that you can actually try to reward both kinds of play, right? So the reason why is because I brought up someone like Marn, because I love the way that he played Viper and Dudley in Street Fighter 4. Because I asked him about it. I was like, what? He's like, I'm not thinking.
Right,
He's
I
like,
know.
This just comes out of
That's not a joke, right? Like, I remember on Twitter, we used to say that about Marn, and I would often get comments on Twitter where they're being like, why are you trashing Marn? Like, he literally says that that's his style.
Exactly. And I also brought up the example for me, which is the Tetris versus the Puyo Puyo. And I've told you before, and it sounds weird, that I actually don't like Puyo Puyo as much as Tetris because I feel like you have to think too much in Puyo Puyo.
Yeah.
Tetris is about this crazy zoning, and you're thinking the whole time, but it's a different kind of thinking.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so that's what I want out of fighting games. I want that variety. So if it's just all footsies, and like I said, I think when everybody says, I want to play a fighting game that's nothing but footsies, I don't even think they're saying the same thing as somebody else who says, I just want footsies.
You're probably right.
And the third person who says, I just want footsies. They're all asking for something completely different. Yeah. And to the uneducated right now, that just sounds like a bunch of walking back and forth and only whiff punishing and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, it's different. It's not, you lose a lot of that space control aspect. You lose a lot of the character variety and the rush downs and stuff like that. You give some characters bad footsies because they do a ton of damage.
Right.
You give characters good footsies, but they do little damage. You give characters...
Yeah, some characters have active control-based footsies. Mm-hmm. Some have whiff-punishing tools.
Right.
All that stuff is very important in making an interesting fighting game.
Right. So, for example, Dalsum is footsies, but he plays... not necessarily in 5, but like, let's say in 4, Dalsum plays footsies from a screen away and it works. But then another character...
He still does in most matchups in 5.
Yeah, that's true. But then Rufus plays footsies right here. Like close next to you, right? They're both playing footsies. It's just what kind of footsies do you want to play?
Different effective ranges.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. So it's definitely cool to have more than just the basic options. I like it a lot.
Yeah, same here.
I would not want a game that is exclusively one thing. And by the way, I wouldn't want a game that's exclusively footsie, it's true, but I wouldn't want a game that's exclusively mix-ups or that's whatever, right? Any one thing that goes too hard is going to make a game less interesting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's interesting because I feel like we're losing a lot of that in fighting games these days. I really do. I feel like fighting games are getting a little more... most fighting games are getting kind of a little streamlined, but...
I feel like it's never been more diverse.
Between games.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean within the game.
Within
the game. Within the game. There's definitely variety, but I don't feel like within the game sometimes the variety is strong enough.
I think there are some important examples of that recently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Between the games? Oh yeah. You cannot find games that play more differently than right now.
I hear you.
For sure.
Anything else to say about this one?
Can you imagine a fighting game that was all grapplers, all command grabs? That'd be the craziest game, dude. That'd be crazy.
Well, grapplers are for the smart players, I've always said.
I agree with that only because I also play grapplers.
I know. All right, let's talk about the viewer topics.
Okay.
We had a bunch of great suggestions this week.
Yeah,
nice work out there, everybody. It's a lot of really cool stuff. Let's go through it.
Sure.
There were 10 this time.
Oh, I'm about to spoil it here.
Jeez.
Oh no, it just says viewer's choice.
Recently, I've seen some fighting game people ask for more microtransactions. I'm just gonna go down.
Okay.
Mostly skins. Is this a recent change in mindset? Okay, we're not gonna talk about that one.
Okay.
Some people say Japan's SFL teams look unbeatable. Is that true? Is this a bad mindset for the US SFL players to have? We'll never know. What kinds of FGC Twitter accounts, like FGC Dad, Clipmaker, Quotes, etc., are we missing? Parody or otherwise?
Huh.
I have no idea.
That's an interesting one. Because I feel like High Fight covers most of what we do.
There's lots of talk about demanding good netcode in fighting games.
I'm just going to call this episode the High Fight promotional
nice work,
stream.
High Fight. There's lots of talk about demanding good netcode in fighting games. Should we demand good graphics too? Samsho and Xrd are both Unreal Engine 4 after all.
Is that implying that Samsho doesn't look good?
I think it is.
Damn. Okay.
I'm just transcribing what they're saying, folks. I didn't write that one.
You submitted that question. I know you didn't. No,
I have said that I think the best thing about that game is its art style.
It's true.
So,
It's true.
Any thoughts of Ash finally winning the Aloha League after 22 years in his previous region?
Alola League.
Oh.
Hello? It's like you don't even know who killed Pokemon's dad.
I literally transcribed it. I mean, it's not my fault.
Man.
God. Congrats to Ash. What are some options for filling in breaks between matches for viewers besides ads or commentators struggling to stall?
Can I just respond to that one real fast?
Okay.
The whole point is to have ads. I don't know how we're going to get other things.
We do need ads, but I think there's more to talk about there.
Right.
It shouldn't be that commentators are struggling to stall.
Oh, yeah.
But there's definitely strategies to do that. Anyway, we're going to move on from that one as well. With SNK slinging around its characters to other companies like Mad Lads, is now a good time for a new Capcom vs. SNK or SNK vs. Capcom? I mean, I don't know. Do you prefer to be the stream commentator or the live audience commentator? What are the different challenges and skill sets required?
That's an interesting one. Okay.
I agree, that is an interesting one.
That is an interesting one. Okay.
What do you think about Super Arcade closing in 2 weeks? I mean, it's a big bummer. We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah, I'm sad about that one.
And last, do you think fighting games should keep releasing new versions every few years or just support one game for a long time through DLC characters and cosmetics? That's what we'll be discussing today.
That is the one that won.
That's the one that won. 24% of the vote.
Almost a quarter, yeah.
So, not a majority at all, but a plurality. That's the one. That's the one. Correct.
That's the one.
So
repeat the question again.
Do you think fighting games should keep releasing new versions every few years or just support one game for a long time through DLC, characters, and cosmetics?
Right. So the idea through this one is to, again, kind of try to emulate sports, right? Because that's what we're having in this situation, is that something like basketball, tennis has rule changes, but for the most part it's the same game, and so we have this lasting kind of thing with it, right? I feel like that's kind of like what League is trying to do. They're just trying to keep extending League as much so it doesn't change and stuff.
Other games as well, not the only example.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not for it.
Okay.
I don't like the idea of it.
Okay.
I would rather have new versions of it because, I mean, or unless you have a company as big as Riot that can pull this off. Because Riot, clearly, they revamped their entire graphics at one point in time. They did do that, right?
Yeah,
true. And stuff like that. So.
It's not just League. Dota's been around.
Yeah,
Same thing. Mm-hmm. CS. I'm sure Overwatch is trying to do that, although it's not so old. Like, there are definitely more examples than just those few.
Yeah, I think for fighting games...
StarCraft did the same thing for a long time.
It depends. If the companies can get to the point where they have the ability to... Because, man, now this is stabbing me in the heart right now. Because, seriously, at our company that I worked at, we worked on automation... And there was a lot of stuff that was written, and then it was like, no, we want this feature, So you add this feature, you do this, you change, oh, I don't like this, you change this. And eventually you end up with Super Turbo Code, right? Super Turbo Code is the wildest piece of crap you've ever seen. I mean, seriously, all of Sagat's moves are here, and then there's more over there. And then there's some over here, and you tweak this over. Like, it is a mess because it was literally created on CPS1, and it was doing this. So the whole thing is you don't get any opportunities to actually re-instrument your code. This is a very important thing. Re-instrumenting code, which is taking code that exists and cleaning it, redoing everything to make it do the exact same thing.
I see.
You're paying somebody to make no difference to anybody else and not increase sales. You're not doing anything.
Is it more efficient, or like what's the?
Yeah, it's organized. It's more organized. It's easier to change things. It's easier to add features. It's now that you know what people like to add, or like, for example, let's say I create a Super Turbo and I created the concept of buffering normal moves, right? In Super Turbo, it's just built into the system that moves that are bufferable, like are cancelable only on certain frames or whatever like that and stuff. But now I want to build a system to it. But now I want to add the ability to cancel specials into supers, right? And it's like, that's not built into these special moves. So now I've got to add this weird extra code, or I could re-instrument it and make it so that everything comes off of a move class and there's a cancelability and what it can cancel into, and it builds in the checks instead of having everything be like specific, like, oh, this move can cancel to this. Okay. It's like, hey, it's just built into the underlying infrastructure, right? Okay. So you can do a lot of things like that, right? But the problem is, how do you tell a company, hi, we want to hire this guy and spend, $80,000 on programming salary to make no difference to anybody out there, right? And so that's never going to happen. Okay. And so the problem with staying with one game for too long is you end up sometimes in situations where some of the ideas that you want to implement are just too hard to implement. And in fact, we see that in Street Fighter V right now. Some of the stuff in Street Fighter V is still left over from Street Fighter IV. Right, Street Fighter 4. Like, here's the perfect example. Cammy couldn't do her low jab used to end slower, so she couldn't do low jab into low strong into drill. Okay. Before Arcade Edition. Okay, yeah. They changed it so that low jab could now link into it. It recovered a lot faster, right? But they didn't change the way the rapid fire jab worked. So you could actually, so when you did rapid fires in Street Fighter 4, you couldn't cancel anymore, right? You could literally link low jab into low jab, and it wasn't cancelable because some of the legacy parts of the rapid fire was stuck there, and like there's just like all these weird things about it that when you look at it from a programmer standpoint, you're like, that's really odd. You know what I mean? And so if you're always building on top of a game, you're just gonna end up with something that I think is unwieldy, and maybe it's too hard to add certain features that you want. And so I feel like coming out with new versions, taking the lessons, which I don't think happens all the time. Fair enough, yeah. But if you take the lessons from the previous game and upgrade it, I think that's really important. So I feel like for the sake of the games, outside of like, hey, Riot, we're going to just do the graphics again, even though the gameplay is exactly the same. Yeah. Like, they understand the importance of it. If we can get to the point where all these companies think that way, sure, let's stick with some games and try to make them last as long as possible. But I just don't see that happening.
I've heard that League of Legends' code is still really janky, and people in the chat are saying the same thing.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
there
you go.
About it, of course,
there you go. Yeah. I don't know. Refactoring code. Yeah, refactoring code. You're right. What was the term that I kept using?
Instrumenting?
Re-instrumenting code. Yeah. Refactoring code is. Okay. Yeah, re-instrumenting is changing the way the underlying engine works. Refactoring is cleaning it up and stuff like that. So you can do both. That's cool. You can do both. Yeah.
That's a very interesting perspective that I hadn't thought about before. I mean, I'm not a programmer. Right. But that does make sense. I can see why that would be a reason to not support a game forever, for sure.
But here's the question. From a non-coding standpoint, from your standpoint, what would you think?
I like long-lived games. I like to still play games that I've been playing for 15, longer than that, years. So I like the idea of having a game that lasts for a long time. Street Fighter V is now 4 years old. 4. I would be happy if it lasted another 4. I really like it. I think that'd be great. StarCraft is a good example. I love Brood War. Even StarCraft 2 is like a decade old now. Like, it's pretty old. How long did SF4 last? 08 to 2015? Something like that? 7 or 8 years? I don't remember exactly now, but it was something like that. That's pretty long. I like that kind of stuff. I'm bummed that the NRS release schedule has been 2 years. I really hope that MK11 lasts longer than that. So I want a longer-lived game. I don't think that this question means that the game needs to be supported for super long. Thank you. Surly Bird.
Thank you.
It says, do you think fighting games should keep releasing new versions every few years or just support one game for a long time? So it's like a few, 3-ish, right? Versus 7 or 8.
Right.
I don't know. So 7 or 8 sounds great to me. That sounds like a great length of time. From a competitor's standpoint, you really dig into the game, at the same time, like, they can tweak the balance a little bit so that it's still fresh, you're still figuring things out. Like, that's, I think, what I prefer. So I do prefer, I think, a longer-lived game that has new characters up to a point. I don't want a billion characters. Right. And, slightly rebalancing every once in a while. I like a yearly basis. That makes sense to me. And new cosmetics. That's what I would want, I think.
It's funny because someone was talking about some stuff in the chat and it made me realize one of the stories that I heard about Marvel 3 is, remember, that game had 2 DLC characters, right? It was Shuma and it was Jill, right? They were already on disc, right? They were clearly on disc already. And the reason why for that, and why the game never got any extra DLC, is because the game wasn't built for DLC. Like, they never programmed it with the idea that you could plug in new characters. So literally that game would not have been able to have more DLC. Okay. So it's just another example of just like how when you build a game in a certain way.
Sure.
Because people are talking about Ultimate. Like, I could see Smash Ultimate lasting for like 7 or 8 years.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's true.
Except for the fact there's like 80 characters, which is crazy. But the thing,
Maybe
the reason why
is
because I feel like they built it a little bit differently. It's clearly built with a lot of this being able to plug in new stuff. You know what I mean? And if we can get to the point where we can build it and it's so well just made that it's easy for stuff to... But like, honestly, like probably one of the games that's out right now that has the best potential to do that is Skullgirls, because Mike Z thought about making the game from that point of view. I mean, we've always talked to each other. We're like, we really want to know what each other's ideas were for game engines. I mean, he made it a reality. Mine's still just theories, but and everything like that. But it'll be really interesting just to find out how he did it, because I don't have any game programming knowledge, right? So I would, all my knowledge just comes from how I would build a software. It's like, hey, look at this cool UI and So it'd be really interesting to see how like some of my ideas, how they would completely not work. Or some of them that would completely work.
Yeah, I agree.
It would be really interesting to see. But honestly, like if we can get to that point where we can build the game so that they can last long enough, like I'm hoping Ultimate is, then I'm totally down for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah, I like the idea, but I mean, you have to have a practical implementation of it.
I don't even know where that's coming from, Curly W. Yeah, that's true. FGC is largely tied to console life cycles. Well, that's not even necessarily true, because Ultra Street Fighter 4 did come out on the PS4.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's so tight.
Yeah. And that's another thing, too, is you would want to design the game so that it is easily more portable between consoles, right? You would have to be smart enough to be able to do something like that, which again, that's all a time and a budget thing. And that's like the hardest part about it, right? I mean, the reason why I said it was like stabbing me in the heart is because there were so many times that me and my teammates were like, please let us refactor this because it's just a mess. And they're like, how long will this take? Maybe a month. So in a month, we're not getting any new features. And we're like, yes? And they're like, nope. It's just it's hard to convince people to do stuff like that, especially with the history of the way games are programmed in Japan. You know what I mean? Like it's I think be a tougher sell than it would be in the States. So
okay. Well,
it's interesting, VTN Wesley, you say that, but that's why. So he says portability of code has never been a concern for gaming, which is a shame. At this point, we know we want NES games to run on PS5 and PC. We know game content doesn't die. That is actually why I'm such a big fan of, what's this company, Digital Eclipse? The one that Frank Cafaldi runs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So when the last time they did the Mega Man collection, what they did was they built basically a house for Mega Man to exist in.
Right.
And as long as that house works, everything in the Mega Man will run the same.
Right.
So whenever they port it to a new system, they only have to port the house.
Right, yeah.
Super cool. And so everything else will... So as long as they can get that works. And so he's actually trying to do stuff to fix that problem. And so that's why I was also a big supporter of the 30th anniversary stuff, because he was the one working on that. So theoretically, no matter what, if we had a PS5, sorry, or 6.
Or 6 in the future.
And he wanted to port that over there, it should be a lot easier to port that than
that makes sense.
right over there, so we can just keep playing him and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Alright.
Looney Tunes platform fighter would actually be pretty funny. Tasmanian Devil would be broken.
No doubt it would be funny.
Tasmanian would be broken. Devil would be broken because everybody would get flashbacks to Meta Knight, and I think they would just like...
Meta Knight.
There you go. Anyway, sorry.
Anything else to discuss on this point?
No.
All right. Do you want to pick one here?
Sure. What do you want to pick? What do you feel like?
I would think this one's pretty interesting.
Okay, yeah, let's do that one because that's the commentator-related one, so I think that's kind of
Do you prefer to be the stream commentator or the live audience commentator? What are the different challenges and skill sets required?
Right. What's interesting about that is that outside of EVO, there's not a lot of situations where I feel like that happens. Right? Do we have outside
There's
of EVO?
not a lot of situations where that happens.
It's usually the same one that's being broadcast
almost
to
always,
both,
yeah.
right? There's obviously the house guys for EVO, and then there's the stream guys for EVO.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your take on this?
I guess I really like both, but I suppose I prefer stream.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's just because I'm comfortable with it. I think that's probably the truth.
Okay.
Is that I've just become so comfortable doing it. Over the years, I've had to also do in-house commentary. We now pretty regularly do stream/in-house at the same time. It's pretty common.
Which usually just ends up being mostly stream commentary.
Almost all stream commentary still, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do like a get loud for whoever, and then the in-house crowd is like, woo, and then that's it. So it's not exactly the same, but I think I'm just very comfortable with the idea of stream commentary. Yeah. But I like the few times where I've done the house mic without also being on the stream. I've only done it a few times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you done it?
I don't even know if I've ever done that.
Once or twice only for me.
Okay.
Those times, I definitely had fun, and it's cool because it's a very different kind of commentary. It's not... In fact, calling it commentary is probably wrong.
Right, yeah.
It's just a really different idea. You're messing around, you're telling jokes, you're
actually talking to people in the crowd.
Yeah, you're definitely interacting with the crowd directly, 100%.
Yeah.
You are sort of getting loud in a way that you don't on commentary. Like, when I get excited on commentary, I have a way of doing it. And when I'm in the crowd, or if I'm like on a house mic, it's not the same kind of like excitement. On a house mic, you can just yell, and everybody else is doing the same thing.
Right.
Everybody else in the crowd is just yelling. Nobody's like, "Oh, it was so great that he made this decision." Nobody is doing that. Right. So that feels more natural to just be like, "Woo!" Whereas on commentary, I don't want to just go "woo" unless it's like one of the very biggest moments. In general, I want my hype to be something that's more concrete.
Right. Yeah.
But in house mic situation, I think that you can more get away with just kind of yelling about it because you have a crowd connection, and I think that makes a lot more sense. So I think it's a lot of fun. It's just something that I haven't done very often and I'm probably less comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't even think that they're particularly comparable.
Yeah, it's pretty different. I think
they're actually very different because commentary is more like a narrative. You're trying to tell a story, right? If you're on the house mic, I don't think the story is as important. Right? No,
you're not telling a story on the house mic. No.
You're just kind of trying to keep everybody excited and get everybody, keep the energy going and just engaging audiences.
I guess it's not true that you're not telling a story because you have to.
It's not the same kinds of stories.
It's not the same kinds of story. Yeah. I mean, it's maybe more about the player. Like the player, who the player is, and what led up to this moment, rather than like the individual decisions the player is making. That's probably not what you're interested in, but the story of the player, the story of the tournament, the story of the crowd, you're definitely doing that stuff, but not the like individual decisions for sure.
Now, I will say though that despite the fact that I think that they're two separate kinds of roles, I think there's only one man out there who is the best at combining both of them at the same time. That, of course, is Tasty Steve.
He's great at it. I think Yipes is also excellent at it.
That's
like
true,
at Evo when it was SF5, while you guys were commentating, the house mic was
Lee Chung,
Yipes, Lee Chung, and Joe. And they did an awesome job.
Yeah. But I just mean at the same time. Like Combo Breaker with Steve jumping up and down and picking up chairs and throwing chairs while he's doing this.
I mean, I've often said this. I think Steve is the only one of the major commentators of fighting games who's really just like a born entertainer. like he would just have ended up being an entertaining guy regardless, right? Whether the fighting games came along or not. Whereas for the rest of us, it's more like we had like I guess we could be entertaining, but it's not like what we're born to do.
Yeah,
I don't think for any
yeah,
of us.
yeah.
But for him, it is.
Yeah,
for him,
absolutely. So, stay my arm. Oh my god, it's so great. Oh man.
So, yeah, but Yipes does a great job, dude. I mean, Yipes that's how Yipes began. He certainly wasn't doing like granular commentary,
I mean,
right?
Scoops Haagen-Dazs wasn't commentary, you know.
Yeah. But he's
I see
really
it
good
New
at both
York Knicks, which nobody still knows what he's actually saying.
I know, yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, it's good. I think it's two different kinds of skills to love. And yeah, I don't know if I'm trying to think back. If I've ever done house mic stuff, like solo house mic stuff. I don't know if I have.
When I did it, it was with Yipes once.
Okay. What event was that?
Something on the East Coast.
Okay.
Might have been a final round or something.
Because I would love to try it. Like, it's something that I would love to do. But the thing about it is, like I like to tell stupid puns and stuff like that. That's not going to work on the house mic.
I don't think that's true. Why?
I mean, because one, it's harder to get the subtlety across for a lot of puns, and two, you don't want to silence the audience.
I think it would be fine.
Yeah, that's true. I might actually probably start singing karaoke too.
Well, that's exactly what people did at Evo. It's not that wouldn't be new.
I guess
that's definitely what
that's
like
true.
Lee Chung and Yipes did that for sure.
They were definitely singing, so
that wouldn't be a new idea.
It's funny.
But yeah, I think that'd be fun. It's just something that I haven't done as often, so I think I feel less comfortable doing it. But
for sure.
It's cool. I do think that it's a good way to phrase it, that they're just different things. They're not the same ideas. In fact, calling it the audience commentator, probably not what you would say. Even.
Mm-hmm. This is just in-house mic.
The house
mic.
It's
just the house mic. It's just all it is. So.
Yeah.
And that is completely not true, Parappa the Kappa. There is a lot of subtlety in my puns. So much to the point that is an insult, and now I take away the Mamma Mia idea from the OS, and I will never be using that term ever again. No, just kidding.
Anyway, anything else to say about this?
Nope, I'm good.
Very cool questions this week, y'all. And if you would like us to discuss one of the ones that we did not talk about, just resubmit it.
Yeah, just resubmit. Don't be afraid to
resubmit it as many times as you want. No big deal. Again, you can submit those. If you're watching this on YouTube, just post it below. I check all of those. If you are not, or whatever, just at UltraChenTV on Twitter with it. Let us know what you think would be a good idea.
Interesting. So, Good Ryan asked, though, as an addendum to that, are you a fan of house mics? Or would you rather just... Because he says, in more cases than not, I would rather just listen to the commentators. What do you think? I think sometimes it's hard to hear the commentators.
Yeah, my preference is to hear an in-house mic if I'm in an audience. But I think I'm probably biased in the sense that I feel like I know the games really well, so I don't,
you don't feel like you need the commentary.
Like, it's great to have, but I think I probably don't need it in a way that maybe some people do.
Right.
If it's a game that I don't know, then it would be great to have the in-house commentary. At DreamHack, after MK was done, I watched... I went to Montreal DreamHack, right? Did we talk about that?
We talked about that.
Okay, yeah. I watched StarCraft at the end, and they do have an in-house commentary. It's not just loud mic, it's commentary. And I don't know StarCraft 2 enough to know all the things, so it was
actually
important.
Really helpful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay. All right. Okay. FGC News.
All right. What do we got here? We have at TGS, the Tokyo Game Show.
Oh, lots of cool stuff.
They had some new Guilty Gear footage.
That was I streamed it live. I restreamed it, and when they started, they showed the same trailer at Evo, and I was like,
"Yeah,
don't do this. Don't be it. Don't." And then they talked about it.
Yeah.
For 25 minutes, and I was like, no. And then they showed new footage, and I was like, yes!
They did.
Yes!
1 minute, but yeah.
Yeah, but, oh, God. I have, it's only been for this new Guilty Gear footage that I think I've really actually ever used YouTube's feature of watching things in slow motion.
Oh, I definitely did that, too.
Because, God damn, this game is so beautiful. And I think Hi-Fi actually, I'm doing it again, put out this amazing tweet. Follow him. Anyway, he put out a video where he actually showed like comparable animations, like Soul going into his super in Exerd, and then his going into the super in the new one.
Okay.
And god damn, the new one, like Exerd already looked beautiful.
Yeah.
But then what they're doing with the new one is just, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just, the game looks so amazingly beautiful.
It's so smooth. It's bright, very colorful.
Right? Yes.
Just beautiful animations, and it's just so smooth. Like it's
yeah.
It never feels like anything that happens is a break in the action. Like right? Like I feel like in other games, you know, if it's clearly a block, it's clearly like there's like segmented things.
Yeah.
I feel like this game is just like flowing all together.
Dude,
it's so cool.
When they first showed that scene where they knocked the guy down, the guy's going, ah, and you see it looked like it was a background transition thing, but it looks like it just happens at the end of Dust. Like there's an air combo finisher that just does it. Because one clip, it didn't look like they were at a stage transition, it just triggered it.
Okay.
Dude, if they just do that everywhere, if they just find these moments to change the camera angle, because that's the biggest advantage of 3D fighting games now, is that you can change the camera angle so supers look more dynamic, and that's where you kind of lose control of the game, so that's where you can do stuff like that. But if they can find little extra moments to sneak that in, like Tekken doing the zoom in on counter hits, and stuff like that, if they can figure out times to just throw in those little kind of things like that and perfect that, because Dragon Ball is very much like that, like, oh god, like, it is going to be the most amazing thing. So,
gorgeous footage.
Yeah,
Gorgeous
it's so
footage.
good. It's so good looking. And then they revealed one new character for about half a second.
Like, new, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but
returning character,
which is May, which she actually finally looks like she's grown up.
She grew up a little bit.
Yeah, but the thing is, she's already 24 years old before. She was just
really?
Yeah, something like that. It's just one of those lore things where she just didn't grow older.
Okay.
But she actually finally looks older, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And I really kind of like the new design, too.
I agree.
I think it's really cool looking. She's just like wearing a hoodie. And I don't know, it's just like, she looks very comfortable.
She does look very comfortable.
Yeah. But,
yeah, I think she looks cool, too.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, though. I can't wait to see what other characters in there. I mean, I want Johnny to be in there, but I just have this funny feeling Johnny probably won't be in the very first one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because I think people are probably either mad at him or something right now because he's too good.
I hope that they have an interesting grappler this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just got to put Potemkin back in.
Oh, boy.
And the funniest thing, too, because, like, he was seriously the most interesting grappler when he first came out.
I remember, yeah,
he was
sure.
super interesting.
Sure, he was a novel idea at the time.
Yeah, he had
it's
a
just
fireball.
Nowadays, he doesn't keep up.
Earthquake was amazing. What
I heard
an awesome concept for that. And then he had the anti-air grab. He was, like, the ultimate, like, new kind of grappler. And then people came up with other crazy things.
Then Magnet Hands came out, so...
But, see, the thing about Magnet Hands is I actually feel like it's one of the most under-realized mechanics. I don't feel like it was nearly as interesting as it could have been. I think it's too set play. You know what I mean? Like, there are the perfect situations to use it, as opposed to being something that you just use every once in a while to pull them in and kind of stuff like that. So I never thought the Magnet was as cool as it was. So Magnet was definitely underwhelming. When I first heard about it, I was like, what a great idea. Then when I saw the actual implementation of it, I was like, nah, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not decisions. It's not decisions that you make. It's just you use it in these specific situations. So I felt like it was always kind of boring. And that's the truth.
Magnet Hands. Probably the coolest design in all fighting games. Anyway, yeah, gorgeous looking game. Gorgeous looking game. I'm very excited to see more of it. That wasn't all with respect to gear. There was a little talk about it, and I guess they're trying to... Well, what the statement is that it's supposed to be less complex and whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff in there. And, you know, I think it was Banana Ken who put out a tweet, is you can make it less complex, but still keep it so that there's a lot of depth and skill to it.
Of course.
And that's how I've been arguing. I mean, I hate the whole skill ceiling barrier of entry tied to each other. There's a lot of ways you can do this.
Of course.
Or do this. And so if they can handle it correctly, I'm okay. Like, if they put Super Dash in the game, I will smash someone over the head.
Well, of course.
With one of these pictures.
Bottom 5 all-time worst mechanics. IMO.
You really think so?
I think it's horrible.
Okay. Yeah. So, I just think that, there's definitely ways that you could do it right. So, yeah, see, BB Tag is a great example. I always thought BB Tag is a great example because it's easy to get into. There's not that many buttons. It's easy to kind of do stuff. But then that game just gets super complicated, and it's wonderful that
If you
way.
want to, you can play by just pressing the A button over and over, and your character goes dun, dun, whatever, right? You don't actually need to do the hard stuff at a bottom level, which is cool.
Yep.
And still very complex at the top.
Is Danger Time #1 worst mechanic? It's close.
It's for sure one of
close.
them. Yeah. I remember we had this conversation once. I feel like we came up with that and Pandora from Cross Tekken as the worst. The two worst.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Pandora.
Gear.
God.
The new Guilty Gear will be playable
Best thing
at
about it
CEO
is
Otaku.
that Teppen actually gave you a Pandora card. And
Yeah.
It won me a game once.
Yeah.
It won me a game one time. I was so happy about that.
So yeah, it's CEO Otaku, which is now in a week and a half or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
It will be playable there.
It's gonna be.
In addition, Granblue will be there, BB Tag 2.0 will be there, and the new Under Night will be there. Nice work.
I'm gonna go book my ticket to see Otaku.
Big
How am I
news.
not going to this thing?
How are you not going?
Oh my god. Oh, God.
Nice work. That's really cool.
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe to fly me out to see Otaku so I can just report and report on it as a reporter. That's all I'm doing.
Sure.
I'm just gonna play those games all day.
Sure.
God damn.
Yeah, also a new Guilty Gear trailer there as well. So that's a big coup for the old Jabali. Nice work.
I'll say.
In Granblue news, Metera was announced. Is that?
Okay, this is why I haven't heard about this, because I probably did hear it and it meant nothing to me, unfortunately. Oh, so not playable demo, just the trailer for Guilty
I
Gear.
thought it was playable. Yeah? Not wrong?
I
think that's what I
Yeah,
heard.
I know Vi did have a Pandora comeback. No, he did it in a combo, I think it was. So.
I don't remember anymore.
Yeah. Not
playable? Oh, okay, my bad.
Okay. I don't need to go.
Well, there's going to be new BB Tag 2.0 stuff there. They're also announcing the final 2.0 characters, I think, this weekend.
This weekend, yeah, on America the 21st,
Okay.
Japan the 22nd.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all cool news. I don't know what to say about the new Granblue character.
Yeah, that's right. Guilty Gear is going to be playable at Arc Revo World Finals, is what it is, and that's going to be in October or November. I can't remember.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Tag 2.0, Under Night, and Granblue will be at CEO Otaku. I'll try Granblue. I feel like it may be a situation like with both Under Night and then with BB Tag, where I try it and I don't have any expectations about caring about it at all, and then it turns out I love it, which is definitely what happened with both of those two.
Yeah.
So maybe for Granblue, but right now my state of mind is I don't really care, but we'll see. I'm open.
Yeah. I do like a lot of the ideas that they're putting into it, and I like that they're bringing a card game mentality to outside stuff like the stats and things like that. And so I'm really curious to see how that's going to work. I love there's the button for the special move with cooldown, or you do the motion for less cooldown.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. And so I'm really interested to see how this game is going to work. I don't know if it's going to be for me.
Yeah.
But it definitely looks interesting. So yeah, Metera trailer got retweeted faster than any fighting game could have done. Probably, I imagine.
It's
Japan,
super popular.
That thing probably spread like wildfire.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we got? I think that's it, actually, because we kind of went out of order on some other stuff.
And
so
just covered a lot of the things.
That's all we got this week.
Okay, cool. I actually have a strangely new compelling Teppen deck right now.
Okay.
That I'm actually
was it what you were telling me before?
Yeah, I'll probably actually stream it later on this week or something like that. Maybe on
Please
Friday or something like that. And yeah, it was surprising. I always thought Mega Man was going to be a terrible hero, but I've found kind of a weird way to make him work with Gaia armor, and it's basically just replacing Chun-Li Yan with Gaia and using that Chun-Li 8 card as the ultimate powerhouse, but instead Gaiaing it so nobody can
Guying
it, so that nobody can target it with like Shinku Hadouken or Wesker destroy a card with 5 million. You know what I mean? So it's weirdly been working better than the Chun-Li Yan deck. It's really interesting. So it's actually really cool.
What was the DOA news? Did I miss some big stuff? My bad if so. That's right. Nero will come out in Teppen. He's going to be a new hero.
That's right, yeah. We don't know the color yet, though.
Yeah, we don't know color or hero arts.
Although someone said that there was a glow on them that kind of gives it away because the characters always have kind of a glow. And he does have a little green tint on the side of his cheek, so he might be a green character.
I wonder how they pick.
I don't know.
I was thinking about that earlier today. Because Rufus is a green card, and...
I know, right?
Why?
Like, I would have imagined that Nero would be like a black deck or something like that. I wouldn't want him to be purple because Dante's already purple, and I don't want them both to be purple. Yeah. But still, at the same time, like, it'd be weird to make...
I don't even know anything about the character. Yeah. So. What happened? Momochi in DOA coming on the 19th. Okay, hold on. Okay. I know.
There's only 4 colors in Teppen right now. They only have red, which is... It's very magic-based. Red is offense, green is defense, purple is control, and black is risk/death kind of thing. So...
Momochi is Ryu Hayabusa's apprentice and the Dragon Shrine Maiden of the Hayabusa clan.
Okay.
She is the keeper of the Dragon's Eye, a sacred jewel that is said to hold the spirit of a mighty dragon.
Is she actually from the Ninja Gaiden games?
First appearance, Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword, 2008.
Oh, there you go. Okay. There you go. Yeah, she's from Ninja Gaiden. Cool.
Cool, dude. I don't mean to no-sell it. I just didn't know. My bad.
That's awesome. Okay, that's
cool.
Dude. So it's kind of like a guestish character, but I mean Ryu Hayabusa's in the game already.
Her DOA debut was DOA 5 Ultimate in 2013.
Okay, gotcha. So she's already beat into there. Oh god, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. This guy with all the DOA knowledge here. Sorry,
correct.
It's my bad.
Correct.
Okay.
What else is going on? I played some Teppen earlier today. I opened packs and I got some stuff. I haven't made the new decks yet, but I guess I'll do that maybe tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. I did a
fun game.
I'm gonna be continuing the Phoenix Wright streams on Thursday. I'm trying to get them out on YouTube. They're actually ready to be published. I'm just trying to make some cool pictures for the thumbnail. That's the word I'm looking for. God, I completely forgot. Oh yeah, Gogeta showed up. So there was footage of him. He's really tall and big. Is he another Goku Vegeta mix?
Are you serious?
I mean, he's got to be, right? So,
I said, why'd you ask me?
I'm not. I'm just looking at you.
Okay.
I'm not asking you. So he is another fusion. Okay. He's another Goku. So we are getting another Goku.
Also, as JGB Pro 88 wants us to point out, the last Furiatica will be happening. Oh no.
Oh, the last one?
Will be happening October 5th and 6th. You can register on SmashGG and visit the Facebook for more information. Why is it the last one? That's a bummer.
That's a good question. And I should probably also mention that they just announced this, but I will be going to Fight Fest in Dominican Republic in a couple weeks.
Oh, cool, dude.
Yeah,
congrats.
So heading down there. So
you get to go back to DR.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it was
fun.
fun.
That was not something I was expecting to happen. It just kind of came together all of a sudden.
Cool, dude. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so I'm happy about that. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be heading out there pretty soon, so that's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. Was there 130 entrants for Chicago Tekken for Red Bull Conquest? That's awesome, dude. Nice. Yeah, we mentioned that. Arxis is revealing the 5 characters this weekend for Blaze Blue.
Yeah.
Cross tag battle. Excited about that.
Yep.
So. Yeah, it is still really strange that in Dragon Ball they're just not adding any of the female characters in that game. And all the female characters in that game always have a dude helping them. Except for Android 21. It's the only one that doesn't have it, so it's kind of weird. Anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what? What is that?
What up?
Not too much information right now, but SF5 We'll have an online tournament in the future. A few details came with the new update.
Okay.
I don't know.
Also, the response from GGB Pro 88, Furiatica, is our main TO has done it for 5 years, but he might be moving for other projects in the future. That means he won't take over for the next year at the very least. We are looking for other TOs to take up the mantle. We'll see how it goes. Well, I hope that does go well. Good luck.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay. I hope that happens. That would be a shame if it stopped.
Yeah, how long has it been going on for now?
I don't know. He says he's done it for 5 years, so it's either 5 years or he took it over from somebody else.
Sure.
So
this is a tournament in Costa Rica we're talking about, by the way. Hope that works out. Yeah, man. Anything else going on?
Not much. Like I said, just if you guys want to tune in, the Phoenix Wright streams have been super fun. I've actually been really enjoying the games a lot, and someone put it out really well. Is that it's really just a visual novel, right? There's nothing about that. You're just doing it for the story.
Yeah.
And actually, the first game, the storyline has actually been turning out kind of interesting. They did a good job weaving some interesting narratives in the first one. It's a lot of fun.
So I know that the system is loosely based on the Japanese legal system. But I had always thought that it was supposed to be basically a joke otherwise. And then a few days ago, I read an article that was about the development of it originally. And, I mean, according to this article at least, it was not supposed to be a joke. I mean, there's jokes in it, obviously. But that the idea of this you're a defense attorney, right? Yeah, this defense attorney who has all these challenges to mount and is just at the absolute end of his rope all the time and is given the short end of the stick by the legal system. Like, that's real.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Okay. Because I've also heard that in Japan, it's actually accurate that the lawyer is the one doing all the investigating work.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah. Like that's actually how it works.
Yeah, I read that the conviction rate in Japan is 99%. Which means that it's not just... That's not just about them picking the right people to go after, right? You just can't... You're not that right as a human. So they're railroading people for sure.
Right.
For sure. And the defense attorneys just don't have great chances.
That's really funny, too, because, like, half of the storylines are like, this guy's never lost a case. This prosecuting attorney's never lost a case.
There you go.
Well, that's definitely
not
accurate,
good.
then.
It's not good for the system to have prosecutors who haven't lost a case.
But I just thought that was, like, an exaggeration of just how good they were.
Yeah.
But that's actually, like, a legit thing.
Yes.
There's probably a bunch of them
that
have never lost case. Yeah. Yeah, the lawyers have to do the investigation. That's what I've heard about.
I've heard that as well. Yeah. I'm no expert in that, but I've read just a couple things about it. That's what I've read.
So that's how it is. So.
Yeah, dude, cases suck. I've never gone to court.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna probably.
The games have been fun. And it's funny too because you can tell they try to make it more about the American audience and stuff like that. Like
the translation.
Yeah, the translation. I think it's supposed to be based in the U.S. in the translation.
Right. Okay. So part of what I heard about in this article was that the the English translation gets rid of a lot of the things that were more like incisive commentary in favor of like silly jokes.
Oh, really?
That's what I read.
Interesting. So the game actually the game actually in Japan had a little bit of a has almost like a satirical but more biting kind of critical.
Yep.
Dang, man! Now I want to play a fan translation of this game, dude. That'd be interesting. The American localization is very good. I think it's very good. But funny. Like, I would like to see what the kind of commentary is, about like how unfair it is to the defense and stuff like that. So it'd be really cool. I've always wanted to learn Japanese, but I always know that if I learn Japanese before I learn Chinese, that I think my parents would kill me. So, so it's always been kind of a pipe dream for me. So
a pipe dream.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yep, that's about all I've got too. But again, feel free to check out that stream. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be good times. So okay, cool. Anything going on this weekend for you? Anything crazy? It's gonna be pretty chill, huh?
Might go to a Mortal Kombat local Saturday. Oh, I'd like to go to Super.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Let's go to Super.
Let's do that. Keep me in the loop for that one because
I'll just send you a text about it. I mean,
there was some stuff I needed to
maybe
do
Saturday.
this weekend. I forgot.
Yeah.
Shoot, I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure out my schedule. Okay.
I've played Fantasy Strike.
All right, see you guys later.
That's probably for the best.
Have a good night.
You're probably right, James.
Let's go ahead and bird ourselves out of here. Let's find the bird.
It was actually on my worst of list from last year. Do you remember that? Our yearly UltraChen Awards.
Quick, where's the thing? Quick. Okay,
Find the bird.
Here we go. Okay, there we go. Yes, all right. See you guys next week. Have a good one and peace out.
Look at those green eyes.
Green eyes.